following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Welcome to Orlando, Florida, and the Capital One Bowl. It's the Wolverines of Michigan representing the Big Ten against the 12th-ranked Florida Gators out of the SEC. Michigan's Lloyd Carr will close out his exceptional career as head coach, and we'll get to watch Florida quarterback Tim Tebow, the first sophomore to win the coveted Heisman Trophy. 65,000 fans here in Orlando, a sellout crowd for the New Year's Day Capital One Bowl between Michigan and Florida. And emotions are already running high in this game. When both teams took the field just a half an hour ago, we had a few cases of in-your-face challenges at midfield. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Patrick, Todd Blackledge. It's great to have you with us. The Heisman Trophy race was up in the air all year long, and it wasn't until the end of the season that it became pretty clear that Tim Tebow was going to be the choice, and a deserving one.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal season. Now, that just means he plays this game with a bigger bullseye on his back, very similar to the way Troy Smith did in the championship game last year against these same Florida Gators. But something tells me that won't faze Tim Tebow, because what separates him from me is not his physical talents, which are many, but it's his inner qualities that make him special. First, he has great charisma. He has a magnetic personality, and he plays the game with a passion and energy that is contagious. Secondly, he's a high character guy, a man of strong faith and values. He loves kids. He loves to spend time with other people. He also, in the weight room, on the conditioning field, works harder than any other player on the team. And then finally, he is a fiery competitor. He wants to win at absolutely anything he does. I think it's those three qualities that have endeared him to his teammates and makes guys play hard around him.
And special is a great word to use with Tim Tebow. For Lloyd Carr, this will be the last game he coaches this Michigan football team, a man who is universally respected by those he coached and those who coached against him.
Yeah, outstanding career. 13 seasons as the head coach. He won over 75% of his games, a national championship, 5 Big Ten titles. My big question is, how will his team respond today? How will they send him out? And I think that really falls on his seniors. Some great players who were not healthy the whole season, but they are back in the fold this year. In this ball game, will have a chance to really set the tempo. Will they be a distracted football team, or will they be a team that plays like they're on a mission, determined to send their coach out with the right way?
Lloyd Carr ready to take the field with his Wolverines for the last time, and he does it for a New Year's Day bowl game. Michigan versus Florida. The kickoff of the Capital One Bowl is coming up. But first, here's John Saunders in Pasadena.
Mike, thanks a lot. Of course, Michigan was here last year at the Rose Bowl. This year, the Big Ten will be represented by the Fighting Illini of Illinois as they take on a team that seems like they're here every year, USC. John Saunders, Craig James, and Doug Flutie. What's interesting to me about this game is you've got USC, a team that probably feels they're good enough to play for a national championship. You got Illinois, a team that's knocked off a team that is playing for the national championship in Ohio State.
Well, I asked Ron Zook yesterday at Illinois at the luncheon, and I asked him about being here. And I said, how's that Cinderella shoe felt this year? And he said, it's been a great opportunity for our kids. They played hard. We've come together. But what I've observed at this game is that if you're the visiting team like Illinois or a Big Ten opponent, you got to know USC is going to be comfortable. They're going to come out and they're going to play well. Tell them, hey, there's ebbs and flows of the game, but you're a visitor in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. And USC's comfortable. They're here and they're healthy. And they haven't been healthy all year, and they finally had that month off. They're on defense as talented as anyone. Offensively, John David Booty's hand is healthy. He's throwing a ball well. We saw him at the end of the year against ASU, and they're scary good when they're healthy.
All right, a few other games being played today, including the Outback Bowl. Tennessee in this one facing Wisconsin, and Eric Ames continues to add to his numbers as he finds Brad Cotton here for the touchdown. The big guy does the work.
You know what? Tennessee looks really good, but Wisconsin's just hanging around enough. Really doesn't feel like they're in this game. So if you're Tennessee, you better watch out for the second half.
Missouri and Arkansas. Tony Temple has 2 touchdown runs in the game as Arkansas is down to Missouri 14-0. All right, let's go back to the Capital One Bowl. Michigan, interesting situation because it's Lloyd Carr's last game as they get prepared for Rich Rodriguez to come in.
You know what? I think Coach Rod's watching this ball game, analyzing like all the new coaches are at their schools. But I'm in the camp that believes that Michigan's football players, led by Mike Hart, will come out and play with extreme emotions and play a good game. They want to send their coach out on a good note. And so I'm going to hang my hat on that fact that they're going to play. Doug, you and I done the same thing because Lloyd Carr is well-liked and respected by his players.
Absolutely. He wants to finish strong, but he's going against Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow, Heisman winner, only a sophomore, may do it again. But I'll tell you what, there could be a variable there. He's been running around in New York, kissing babies, shaking hands, signing autographs, going to luncheons, going to dinners. I'm sure he got happy to just get back, go to work, and get ready to play a football game. I think he'll handle it fine, but it is something to worry about from a team standpoint.
You said you guys have done this. You mean you've killed coaches before, got them fired and resigned?
Yeah, we've been on a few deals where you had some coaching changes taking place, but you know what? Hey, kissing babies and all that stuff, there are no Jessica Simpsons in his life. I think
no whammy.
Ready to go.
No whammy sitting upstairs wearing a pink shirt.
All right, that one is coming up. It sounds like it could have been a national championship game. Michigan against Florida. It should be a terrific one in the Capital One Bowl. We, of course, will see you at halftime. That is coming up next.
ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Welcome to the Capital One Bowl with a coin toss. Here is Frank LaPrade, Executive Vice President, Capital One.
Heads. Florida, you in the toss?
Florida wins the toss and defers to the second half. Beautiful sight this afternoon. A great afternoon for a ball game. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, when we spoke with the Michigan coaches about their biggest concern today against Florida, we were surprised. They didn't talk about Heisman Trophy winner Tim Tebow at first. The first person they mentioned was wide receiver Percy Harvin of the Gators. Lloyd Carr said he is a special athlete. He competes so hard to break the tackle or go up for the ball. And their defensive coordinator, Ron English, said he's the most talented we have faced since we played Vince Young. He also mentioned the importance of tackling in open space. He said, to my standards, Michigan has been a good to average tackling team this year. Today, against an athlete like Percy Harvin, will have to be great.
They will indeed, Holly. Coming up on this afternoon's show, we'll talk to Michigan's new man, Rich Rodriguez. Tim Tebow is on a mission, both on and off the field. And we'll take a comprehensive look at the phenomenon known as Todd's Taste of the Town. Perfect afternoon, 72 in Florida. Almost as good in Gainesville, the Gators' home, but in Ann Arbor, snow showers in 29. Whoa.
A lot nicer for the Wolverines. We'll see the Wolverines on offense first, and I think the best way to defend Percy Harvin will be for the Michigan offense to stay on the field, and I expect to see a very aggressive Michigan offensive attack in this bowl game. I think we'll see some empty set formations. I think we'll see some trick plays. I think they will be in attack mode against this Florida team today.
Brandon Miner and Brandon Harrison are deep for the kick of Joey Ehas. See that bunched kickoff formation. Miner takes it inbounds and goes out of bounds. A big opening play mistake by Michigan. You have to be aware of where you are on that field.
Absolutely. Absolutely have to be aware. Florida has been outstanding on special teams all season. A perfectly placed kick. You got to let that one go and hope it goes out of bounds. I mean, even if you catch it clean, your momentum is taking you to out of bounds. And so poor field position for the Wolverines on their first offensive possession.
Tough spot for Lloyd Carr and this Michigan offense as they will take over at their own 7-yard line.
Here we go, shotgun right away inside their own 10-yard line.
Penny with Mike Hart near him in the backfield. Penny on the roll, throws. throws complete to the 13-yard line to Harrington. With the Capital One starting lineup, here is Mike Hart to tell us about the Michigan offense.
Starting quarterback, final game of Michigan Wolverine uniform. We have Chad Henne. Moving outside to receivers, we have Super Mario Manningham and Agent Arrington, forming the best receiver combination in the country. Moving up front, we have All-American Jake Long and Adam Krause. The guys open up the host for myself. If we all play our best game, we'll get a win for Coach Carr in this final game.
On the right side of that offensive line. Not quite as good as the left, but they're good. This entire line is. Hart running right behind Long across the 20, 30, 37-yard line, knocked out of bounds, and he gets right in the face of the tackler, Major Wright, to tell him he can't stop him, but this one may come back.
Well, Mike Hart is a guy who plays with great passion and enthusiasm, very similar to Tim Tebow on the Florida side.
Offside. Defense, number 4. Kelly will lead a climb. First down.
I think right away we see a very aggressive approach, a spread offense from the Michigan sidelines, some motion, and they run where they run well. To the left side behind their left tackle, Jake Long. This season, they ran for over 1,100 yards over that left side, running behind their two-time All-American Jake Long.
Jake Long has not had a penalty called on him this year. He has allowed 1 sack.
That was to Vernon Golston of Ohio State in the last game of the regular season. Another check at the line of scrimmage. Empty backfield. Michigan has not done this much at all during the 2007 season.
So Florida's going to have to find a way to adjust. Henne under pressure. Throws on the knee. What a catch! Arrington behind the back like he was ready to dribble it.
Sweet Georgia Brown, huh? Henne does a great job of eluding the pressure because there's a blitz coming from both corner sides. You've got a corner blitz coming from the left. Derek Harvey comes unblocked, and Henne with strength eludes the sack of Harvey and gets the ball out to Arrington. Nice job of Henne buying a little extra time, and then Arrington somehow hangs onto that ball behind his back.
Now that's concentration. Michigan with an impressive-looking drive so far. They've reached the 49. Henne will change the play. Hart. Of course, this is going to look an awful lot like the Rich Rodriguez offense that they're going to run next year.
Yep.
For the Gator defense, here's Tim Tebow.
Starting with the defensive line, led by Derek Harvey, All-American defensive end. Next, onto the linebackers, where we have our vocal leader, middle linebacker Brandon Spikes. Next, onto the secondary, where we have my roommate, starting strong safety, Tony Joyner.
There are a lot of versions of what the spread offense is. Right now, Michigan is running a version of the spread where they're spreading out the Florida defense in order to throw the football or create running creases for Mike Hart.
Henne straight back, throws short to Arrington again. Arrington to the Florida 40-yard line. Lloyd Carr in his 13th and final season as the Michigan head coach. 75% of his games have come out on the winning side of the ledger. And, of course, he won that one national championship. 6 10-win seasons for Lloyd Carr.
Right now, his offense has got momentum, and they've got the Florida defense back on their heels a little bit. Right now, Florida's showing 2 deep safeties because they're a little bit concerned of the passing game and the spread formations that Michigan is showing them right now. That means they might have room to run the football.
Henne under pressure, wants the screen to Hart. Hart out of bounds. Good block by Adam Krause, the first-team All-Big Ten center.
I know this is football and not basketball, but I think this game is going to come down to a 3-on-3 matchup. Which 3 has a bigger game? For Michigan, it's quarterback Chad Henne, tailback Mike Hart, and wide receiver Mario Manningham. For Florida, Tebow, Percy Harvin, and wide receiver Andre Caldwell. At the end of this ball game, whichever one of those threesomes have the better numbers, that's what team is going to win the game. And for Michigan, the good news and what you can see right now is this is a healthy Chad Henne and a healthy Mike Hart, which they did not have at the end of the season.
And if you want 3-on-3, Michigan is currently fast breaking down the field on its opening possession.
Movement by the left guard, Justin Boren. Chad Henne's trying to call a lot at the line of scrimmage.
Ball start, number 65 offense, 5 yards, still second down.
Because of the injuries you talked about, Todd, Michigan's run game has not been where it traditionally has been. They're only 44th in the country, and they're going against the best rush defense in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, well, and part of that was that Mike Hart was, he missed 3 games, only played 9. Gained over 100 yards in 8 of those 9 games. But the last time out, this team only gained 91 yards total offense against Ohio State.
4-man rush, they don't get there. And they'll throw underneath, complete to Matthews. And Matthews, they'll spot it at the 31. They need to reach the 29 for a first down. Henny's been just sparkling so far.
He's been sparkling. He looks good. He looks sharp. His shoulder looks fine. You know, before the Ohio State game, he tried to gut it out and play. Did not throw the ball well in that game, but hadn't thrown the ball for nearly 3 weeks leading into that game, and still tried to go out as a senior and lead his football team. But he looks good today throwing the football down in this warm Florida weather.
When your quarterback and your tailback are banged up, you really take so much out of the game, you don't have a chance to compete big time. Hart will have the first down at the gated 28-yard line. I mean, Hart is such a tough kid. He gets banged up, misses time. Penny misses time. It sort of leaves Manningham out there by himself because somebody's got to get him the ball.
And Mike Hart is appropriately named Mike Hart because I think he is the heart and soul of this Michigan football team. When they beat Penn State earlier in the year in a big win, he carried the ball 44 times. He's out as a wide receiver right now. Another empty set for the Michigan offense.
And they'll throw it. Harrington with a one-hand catch. Or excuse me, it's Manningham with a one-hand catch. He came in motion. That is a tough pass to catch if it's not right on the money, and that was a little high.
Trying to get Mario Manningham, the other part of that threesome, involved. Henny off to a good start. Mike Hart off to a good start. Time to try to get Manningham's hands on the football. Arrington with a couple big catches so far. I like what I see out of Michigan. Aggressive. I think they've got to play the exact same way defensively, but right now, this is perfect. They're moving the football, they're eating up clock, and they've got the Florida defense a little confused.
This is one of the great advantages to the extra practice time that you have before a bowl game. Hart on the inside handoff, room to run. Takes it outside, and Hart down to the 13-yard line. And Pierre-Louis, the defensive back who was on that corner, was being held big time. That's why they got the extra 10 yards.
Well, again, they run behind Jake Long, and then watch Greg Matthews, number 13. Yeah, a little bit of a hold, but still you got to applaud a wide receiver for blocking out on the perimeter. That's where big runs come, when your wide receivers block outside. And for Matthews, he's one of the only Florida guys on this Michigan team from right here in Orlando, Edgewater High School. He was one of those guys jawing a little bit before the game.
Gators jumps, and it was Justin Trotto.
Offside. Defense with contact. Number 94. 5 yards. Still first down.
Rich Rodriguez, who will take over the helm of this university's football program tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, that's right. You know, it's been interesting. I think he's done a nice job of kind of staying out of the way and allowing Lloyd Carr to finish out his regime here and his tenure at Michigan. Didn't want to be a distraction, but wanted to show his support for what will be his football team starting tomorrow.
11th play of this drive. Penny threw it away.
Tried to throw a tight end screen. They tried to run a little trick play.
Now the question will be, did the ball get to the line of scrimmage?
But there was a tight end. They tried to throw a tight end screen. They're going to pick this flag up. He was not out of the pocket, but there was a receiver in the area.
Intentional grounding. Number 7. Offense. The loss of that. The spot of the pass. And second down.
Lloyd Carr questioning the call. What a huge penalty all the way back to the 21.
If you want to throw it away, you have to be out of the pocket, outside of the tackle box. They did have a tight end crossing, Carson Butler, but apparently not close enough to the football for the officials like it. ACC officiating crew.
2nd and 19 as you also lose the down. Matthews goes in motion toward Manningham, leaving Arrington on this side. Penny to Manningham, touchdown!
Boy, what a strike by Chad Henne. The penalty sets him back. Florida thinks maybe they can stop this drive, and Henne plants his foot and delivers a strike to Manningham for the touchdown.
Chad Henne on this drive, 6 out of 6, 63 yards, and the touchdown. The guy who holds all the significant Michigan passing records leads his team down the field for a 93-yard opening drive score. This ESPN production is available on ABC HD, presented by Olivia. 7-0 Michigan as they go 93 yards on the opening possession of the Capital One game.
Well, that was a beautiful drive engineered by Chad Henne, and his best throw of the drive was that last one. What a strike to Manningham.
And Manningham has always been the big play guy. 27 career touchdowns, 20 of them over 20 yards.
Pooch kick. Did they get it?
Fight at the sideline. Michigan says they have it.
Looks like they're signaling Florida ball.
And right in front of the Michigan bench, and if you're a Florida Gator, you might want to get out of there because they're really going after people. Aaron Hernandez, a backup tight end, made the catch at the sideline.
Pretty good strategy here in the special teams for Michigan. Not kicking it deep to Brandon James, one of the top return men in the country. Try to kick a high one, see if he can jar the ball loose. Well executed by Michigan.
Tim Tebow comes out in the Florida spread, and now an empty backfield. The Heisman winner throws on first down and completes his first pass to Aaron Hernandez.
Let's go back and look at the Michigan touchdown. I want to show you what happened here. Now, this is Mario Manningham, and he's going to run just a normal post pattern with a great route. But the guy you got to pay attention to is Matthews. As he runs, he's going to occupy this safety, Major Wright. And by doing that, Major Wright is not able to get over and help on the post. Henne sees it. He sees the safety hung up on the inside receiver and throws it right in between the corner and safety for a touchdown. Beautiful execution.
Tebow to Harvin, who set up in the backfield that time. And Harvin across midfield to the 47-yard line. With the Capital One starting lineup, here's Tim Tebow to tell us about the Florida offense.
Starting with our receivers, we have our receiver, our leader, Bubba Caldwell. Next, we have the most dynamic player in college football, Percy Harvin. Then we have Lewis Murphy, a great deep threat. At tight end, we have Cornelius Ingram, go get it, CI. At running back, we have tough as nails, Keeson Moore. At right tackle, Jason Watkins. At right guard, freshman, Marquise Pouncey. At center, Drew Miller. At left guard, country boy Jim Tart. And at left tackle, we have Bad Body Metter.
I'll tell you what, those linemen must really love their quarterback for him to call one of them Bad Body.
Tebow to Harvin. Block in the back. No call, no flag. To tell us about the Wolverine defense, here's linebacker Sean Crable.
D-line anchored by terrible Terrence Taylor and Tim Jameson. Linebackers Chris Graham, the Brick, and the young Thundercat, O.B. Ezebo. Secondary anchored by Jamar Adams and Brandon Ingram, and the best downhill thumpers in the nation.
Just as aggressive as that Michigan offense was the last drive, that's how I think the defense has to play against Tim Tebow in this offense.
Tebow with that little fake that he likes to make toward the line of scrimmage and then come back and throw, and he completes the pass to Caldwell at the 36-yard line. They'll mark it back closer to the 37 and may have to measure. There's Urban Meyer, who's done such a brilliant job in a young career as a head coach. His third season in Florida. This is a young football team. And, boy, is he loaded for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why he sees this game as being so critical towards building momentum. Momentum in recruiting, momentum for winter conditioning, momentum for what they hope will be an SEC and possibly a national championship run next year. Urban Meyer also 4-0, undefeated in bowl games. 2 wins as the head coach at Utah. And then the last 2 years at Florida.
First down. By inches, it's a first down. He's not had an incomplete pass in this game.
Well, there, as you see the breakdown, not a lot of seniors and juniors. That's just the starters, but a lot of your backups on this team are also sophomore and freshmen. So a very young and talented team. There are a couple of juniors who may opt for the NFL. We'll find that out in another couple weeks.
Tebow straight ahead. He is the power running game in spite of the fact that he's the quarterback. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, when we talked to Tim Tebow the other day, he told us, in his words, this game is way bigger than a bowl game for us. He said this is going to give us some momentum and a sense of belief that we can prepare for a great season. And guys, if you saw him at practice, he was intense. He was competing on every down, and he brought that intensity. So the rest of the guys were too. Derek Harvey, a lot of the defensive players, you got a feeling that they were all about business.
You know, Holly, if they were 0-12, he would find a way to get up for the next game. Keyston Moore. Only a couple.
You talk about Tebow's competitiveness, and I think that is one thing that really sets him apart. This guy competes at everything. We were at the luncheon yesterday, and they did a deal where they had the 2 starting quarterbacks. They raffled off some footballs, and they wanted the quarterbacks to throw to wherever the guy was in the audience that won. Now, there were over 1,000 people at this luncheon.
So it's a big room.
And it's a big room, and they threw these balls all the way across the room. And Tim Tebow, he didn't say anything, but you could tell in his body language he was competing. And he was 2 for 2, and Chad Henne was 1 for 2. So everything matters to him.
And all those awards you saw, one of the results of that competitive nature. Tebow throws underneath. This is incomplete. Murphy got a hand on it, but it was knocked away at the last moment.
It's a big stop right there for Michigan. Donovan Warren, a true freshman cornerback from Long Beach Poly High School, a great high school program. Grew up during the course of this season, as did a lot of these Michigan defenders. But they brought pressure, aggressive approach. Pressure Tim Tebow, play some man-to-man, take the game to the Gators.
And Warren is the only one of the starters in the secondary who will be back next year. Everybody else a senior or fifth-year senior. Ehas will try from 49. This would be a season long. Plenty of leg, but wide.
And right now, the Michigan Wolverines know that they are in the ball game. This is a team that had to survive early. Last year when Florida beat Ohio State, they got after them right away. Michigan's in this one.
The Capital One Bowl on ABC. Brought to you by the new Capital One Card Lab at CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet? Dodge. Live life to the fullest. Dodge. Grab life. Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And DLP HD TV. DLP is the official ESPN on ABC HD telecast sponsor of college football.
Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. What a perfect day. 72 degrees, Central Florida. And they're fired up on the Michigan sideline, and why not? They played exceptionally well to start this game.
There's that question, would they be focused or would they be distracted? Their coach is leaving. All their assistants are looking for new jobs, save one. No distraction on this team so far.
Manningham, flanker around. Across the 40, 45, 46. Flag down, that's going to be a hold, and it will come back.
Yeah, that's a shame, too, because that was a well-executed play outside of the hold. I think they may have gotten Adrian Arrington, one of the other wide receivers, but they are mixing things up. I like the attack so far by Michigan. Again, you mentioned you get extra time to prepare.
Replay first down.
I think that's a credit to Lloyd Carr and this coaching staff as much as anything, because all these assistant coaches, I mean, they're looking for different jobs. They've got to find new jobs. Here's the infraction, I think. Adrian Arrington blocking outside on this reverse. Gets a hold of the jersey right there. You see he gets a hold. The back of the jersey of Tony Joyner, the starting strong safety for Florida. And that play had to come back.
When that guy turns, you have to let go.
Boy, Chad's calling a lot at the line of scrimmage. A lot of responsibility. 4-year starter at quarterback.
Manningham fell down. That could have easily been picked off. Joe Hayden had the coverage. Of course, if you're a Michigan fan, the season started miserably with a loss to Appalachian State and then a really good Oregon club. They shut out Notre Dame after a guarantee that they were going to win it. They won their next 7 and went 8-2, but then they lost to Ohio State for the 6th time in 7 years, and Lloyd Carr resigned as the Michigan head coach after 13 years at the helm. Rich Rodriguez, after an extended search, was named the head coach. Hart will check in to the studio. We'll be back here in a second.
Thank you, and Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Matt Weiner, here to keep you on top of every New Year's Day bowl, including Texas Tech and Virginia in the Gator Bowl, and Tech doing what Tech does. Graham Harrell to Detron Lewis. They score. Harrell's 46th touchdown pass of the season. Raiders 7-0 in Jacksonville. Mike?
All right, Matt, thanks very much. From the 31, Michigan facing a 3rd and 10, and Henney appearing to be changing the play again. Blitz coming. They pick it up, and Henney throws underneath. Incomplete. Good defense by Dorian Monroe. It was well shy of a first down anyway.
Oh, nice job by Greg Madison and Charlie Strong, the co-defensive coordinators for Florida. Bring pressure and force a hot throw on 3rd and 11. Even if they complete it, you tackle them short of the first down. Now, this is an area where I think Michigan has to be really solid, because Brandon James is a difference maker for Florida. 7 returns over 50 yards this year. They've got to be sound in covering this kick.
I love the kicker's name, Zoltan Mesko. He sounds like he's the leader of the evil empire. James straight up the middle. Nearly broke that one before Greg Banks made the tackle. A 17-yard return. The Heisman winner gets it back. Welcome back to the Capital One Bowl in Orlando, Florida. Mike Patrick, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, our entire crew with you. 7-0 Michigan. First quarter over the University of Florida. Coaching transitions. Teams in flux right now. They're over.
Yeah, haven't won. And some of them have been interim coaches taking over. Arkansas with Reggie Herring stepping in for the departed Houston Nutt. This is a different one with Lloyd Carr still being here.
Tebow on the option. Midfield. 40. It's just the best athlete on the field taking a direct snap and saying, where do I go?
Well, and consider this. I mean, he's the quarterback, but he had 72 more carries of the football than the starting tailback in this offense. And he ran for 22 touchdowns. He became the first Division I player to run for more than 20 touchdowns and throw for more than 20 touchdowns in a season. I mean, he's just a remarkable athlete who got better as the year went on as a quarterback, as a passer, has always had that running ability.
Responsible for 51 touchdowns scored. Harvin started the year as a flanker, but the running game did not go well from a tailback spot, so he's carried the ball more and more.
Take a look at what Tim Tebow did this season. First of all, first sophomore to ever win the Heisman Trophy. You see the 20 rush and pass touchdowns. 51 total touchdowns he accounted for this season. And that's just an amazing thing. And he played hurt. You know, he bummed his shoulder in his non-throwing right shoulder in the Kentucky game. And he played the Georgia game, a game that they lost. Really ineffective as a runner because they had to protect him, and then broke his hand, a bone in his right
hand in the last game against Florida State.
When you look ahead to next year, Todd, ideally they would like to cut down the number of carries. But with the guys they're bringing in, they'll probably be able to do that.
Well, I think what the Florida coaches would like to do, and what they hinted to us, is that they would like to play 2 quarterbacks next season. They'd like to give him a break, and they don't want him to have to run the ball as much. You know, he had a game earlier against Ole Miss. He carried the ball 27 times for 166 yards. Now, he survived this season well enough to win the Heisman, but can he survive 2 more years in the SEC running that many times? I don't know. Now, the only thing is Urban Meyer's going to have to convince number 15 not to run so much, because if it were up to him, he'd run it every play.
He sure would. And for as long as he lasted, it'd be a pretty good offense. Inches short on the measurement as they look toward the Florida sideline for the signal. Harvin is back there with Tebow. 2nd and short, maybe a good time to take a shot here. Instead, they'll give it to Harvin.
Michigan has to tackle better than that on Percy Harvin. He's the guy they got to really get to the ground.
More on Tim Tebow. Here's Holly.
Well, that running took its toll with Tim Tebow in that Florida State game. He said he broke his right hand on a run where somebody crashed into it. He had a cast on for the Heisman. He had to shake everybody's hand with the left and had all the other finalists sign his cast. But when we shook his hand this week, he just has a partial soft cast. As you shake his hand, you can feel just a little bit of hardness to that wrap. He said it's not bothering him at all. It was a 4th metatarsal on the non-throwing hand, guys, so he looks good to go.
Thank you, Holly. They set Harvin in the backfield again. Over the middle, and that's complete to Ingram to the 7-yard line. And he was drilled by Adams, but he held on.
And that's the, you know, in gymnastics, when you invent a move, they name it after you. This is the Tebow. Step in, fake like you're going to run it yourself. It's a play action to yourself, and then deliver a strike to Ingram. Right down the middle. And then Ingram, the big, strong tight end, hangs on. Now, Tim Tebow, just the more he plays, the better he gets as a quarterback. I mean, he's always been a great athlete. He was the power runner last year, short yardage goal line, but he completed 68% of his passes this season and got better each week.
1st and goal, the fake to Harvin. Tebow up the middle. Inside the 5.
It's amazing when you really think about this Florida offense. Under Urban Meyer now, this is the 2nd most productive offense he's ever had. He had a more productive offense in 04 at Utah that averaged almost 500 yards a game, but they averaged 462 yards a game and 198 yards a game rushing without a great tailback. You know, I mean, their best running threat was Tim Tebow, number 1, and Percy Harvin coming in motion and doing different things and still gained almost 200 yards a game rushing.
A lot of times with no tailback, period. I still love how the Tebow fake works every time.
Well, you have to respect that. I mean, you know he's going to run it, so you better respect it.
He'll call a timeout. When he starts toward the line of scrimmage, he draws a crowd. 2:51 to go, 1st quarter. Michigan on top of Florida by 7. Welcome back. ABC Monday. Dancing with the Stars' most opinionated minds will stop judging stars and start making them. It's a head-to-head war on the dance floor. Time to take sides, America. Dance War. Bruno versus Carrie Ann. Premieres Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC. 2nd and goal for the Gators. Tebow in an empty backfield. Tebow throws. Ingram bobbles, catches, touchdown.
There's a late flag. I think there may have been a lineman across the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure what the penalty, but what a job by Tebow throwing as he was getting hit right in the jaw.
An eligible receiver, downfield, number 77 offense. Penalty 5 yards, previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
Junior left tackle Jason Watkins across the line of scrimmage, and that cost him 6.
Well, this was a great job by Tebow against the blitz, staying in there. But Jason Watkins, the left tackle, is going to get across the line of scrimmage. Here he is, and he's going to end up over in here when the ball is thrown. I'm not sure where he's headed. But nonetheless, Tebow throwing under pressure, but the penalty backs him up now. just around the 10-yard line.
Boy, and Jamison had a bead on him. Blitz coming. Tebow in trouble. Hit as he throws. Ingram out of bounds.
See, that's the way I think you have to play against Tim Tebow and the Florida Gators. You have to pressure. Last year in the championship game, Ohio State played a lot of zone. They got out of a pressure defense. Michigan coming after him. Jamar Adams, the free safety, comes free inside. Puts a hit on Tebow. Forces him to throw that ball a little bit wide for Ingram. If you play soft and conservative and play a lot of zones and allow those crossing routes and a lot of underneath throws, they will just nitpick you all the way down the field and into the end zone.
Pretty good coverage by Branton Engelmann. Ron English, the defensive coordinator, and the Gators.
No, Michigan called
Michigan will call the timeout. On 3rd and goal. Timeout, 2:41 to go, first quarter. Good ball game so far with 2 minutes and 41 seconds to go. First quarter. This is the Capital One Bowl from Orlando, Florida.
Now, Michigan called timeout there before that 3rd down play because they only had 10 guys on the field. It's tough enough to stop Florida with 11. Very good job of recognizing that by the safety, Jamar Adams, to call timeout and get the proper personnel on the field for this play.
5 wide receivers. Harvin in the slot to the left. Tebow throws for Harvin, touchdown. Well, you just had the feeling that's the guy he's got to be looking for, and Harvin was wide open.
Yeah, that's got to be a bust in coverage for Michigan. You don't want to let him run through the middle of your defense. Of anybody, number 1 is the guy that you want to account for.
You can see Lloyd Carr saying something to Ron English like, how did that happen? And Ron's response was pretty emphatic. Wasn't supposed to. 59-yard drive took just a little more than 3 minutes off the clock. And Tebow hits his 30th touchdown pass of the year.
Well, I think it was a bust by Florida, too, because Tim Jamison's going to come free. But before he can get to Tebow, his main guy, Percy Harvin's wide open. Watch Jamison come free over the edge. Ordinarily, this would be a sack. But Percy Harvin opened up so quickly that Tim Tebow was able to get the touchdown before Jamison got to him. And that's a mistake by Florida and a mistake by Michigan, the worst one by the Wolverines.
That is the second time, Todd, that Watkins let Jamison just go. The first time was when he was called for going over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think a little confusion right now from the left tackle, Jason Watkins, on how Michigan is aligning themselves and rushing the passer, because they're getting some pressure to Tim Tebow, but Tebow hung in and made the play there.
Let's check in with Holly.
Well, we are here with a gentleman from Capital One, Frank LaPrade. And Capital One, you can't help but think of Bowl Week and college football. Why is your company associated with college football?
Holly, it's a real privilege for us every year to host and sponsor the Capital One Bowl. We just love the passion and the energy and the excitement, everything about college football, the fans. It's really what our company's all about. And so that's why it means so much to the company. And in the process, we get to raise a lot of money for kids, working with Florida Citrus Sports, and help out our community. So it's a win all the way around.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here. And thanks for bringing us all these great bowl games this week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. The Gators have tied it up. Ehas to kick to Minor and Harrison. Remember, they pinned him at the sideline for the opening kickoff. This time, Minor will take it at the 10 and has a seam. And Ehas, the kicker, was there to bring him down at the 39. Now we go to Matt Weiner. Matt?
All right, Mike, this SportsCenter Minute is powered by Vizio. Last night, Auburn true freshman Cody Burns announced himself as somebody to watch in 2008. He threw a touchdown pass, then ran home the game winner. Auburn beat Clemson in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And at the Outback Bowl, Eric Ainge has tossed a pair of touchdown passes. Tennessee leads Wisconsin 21-17 early in the fourth, and just the second ever meeting between those two.
Matt, thank you very much.
Pretty impressive for Tennessee. They're without their top receiver. Lucas Taylor was eligible to come down.
Hard hit in the backfield and taken down middle linebacker Brandon Spikes, the leading tackler on this team, knifed through and got him by the ankles.
Now, Brandon Spikes, the leading tackle on this team, has become the real emotional leader. There he is, number 51, right in the center, just slips through quickly. The right guard, Jeremy Chula, not able to pick him up on the stunt. And that's what's known as a run blitz. You anticipate run on first down. You blitz to stop the run behind the line of scrimmage, which is exactly what they did.
2nd and 12. Henne under pressure, throws incomplete, intended for Butler, the tight end, and whizzed past him.
A negative play on first down, really costly, because they had momentum in that first drive. They had the Florida defense back on their heels because they were going forward all the time. They had manageable 2nd down, 3rd down situations. Last 2 possessions, they've had some negative plays and some penalties that have set them back. And here we are again, 3rd and long, which really favors the Florida defense. When they have teams 3rd and 7+ this year, they only convert 18%.
Henne hit his first 6. He's missed his last 3. And Henne will use the team's 2nd timeout.
Play clock was running down. He was trying to check at the line of scrimmage. Didn't have enough time to get done what he wanted to do.
Let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, if you thought this was just another bowl game that didn't mean anything, think again. Watch this pregame activity, guys. They're just out innocently warming up, and then some of the Florida guys get out in the face of the Michigan guys. I think that's Matthews who's doing his little dance there, and then things really started to get heated, guys. Michigan had been pretty sedate doing their warm-ups, and all of a sudden they got their feathers ruffled a little bit. The Michigan receivers particularly were talking back to Florida saying, hey, bring it on. You better shut up or put up. A lot of yakking going back. Some of it I can't repeat on television, guys, but it set a tone for this game that really has both teams taking it very seriously.
Wolverines with feathers.
Yeah. Well, whatever it was riled up, and that really was initiated by Florida. They came right out to the center of the field and started jumping up and down, and they drew Michigan into that, and I'm not so sure they wanted to do that because I think it helped Michigan to start this game.
3-man rush. And he with time lost the ball. Appeared to get it back, and it was Derek Harvey, the best defensive lineman the Gators had, who got pressure, reached out, and slapped the ball down.
Derek Harvey came from the right side, working against Steve Schilling. Not the All-American tackle. He came from the other side, and he beat him with a speed rush and stripped the football. Watch him go around Schilling and get his hand on the football. Well, that's an NFL move, and there's a good chance Derek Harvey might be in the NFL next year doing that same thing.
And because they're short on defensive linemen, they have not had the traditional rotation. Harvey has had to play, as they blow this play dead. Harvey's had to play about 80 plays a game, and he said he...
False start, 89 offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
He is just whipped at the end of a ball game.
Well, consider this. Last year in their championship season, now he had 3 sacks in the championship game against Troy Smith and Ohio State, but he only played about 35 plays a game. And so far now, 2 sacks tonight. But he had to be in a lot better shape this season to play the way they wanted him to play.
Returnable kick by James. Breaks a couple of tackles, still on his feet to the 44-yard line. And a flag down as North, throwing a block late, ran into one of the Gators, and that may cost him another 15. I think Tim North threw a late block.
First down.
And North will be called for the penalty.
Now, that's a lack of composure because, first of all, Brandon James is a difference maker. You've got to cover him with discipline. And then once you do get him on the ground, you don't want to add yardage to it. And it was not much at the end of that play if it was on number 89 North, but he did run into the back.
Cornelius Ingram was the guy he hit. So the Gators with fine field position. Tebow with a lot of time to throw. Throws over the middle, and there's that guy again. You just wonder, as dangerous as Harvin is, and the way the coaches talked about him in many cases before Tim Tebow, how's that the guy that gets open in the middle?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times they get him open by formation or where they align him. They don't line him up in the same place every time. This time, he just ran through the zone defense, and Tim Tebow bought himself a little extra time and found him over the middle. See that little move by Tebow? Bought a little more time and changed the timing of the route and the timing of the coverage. They do a great job of maneuvering where Harvin is. Here he is in the backfield right now next to Tebow.
1st and 10 just outside the 11, and Harvin lost his footing and went down inside the 15-yard line. That'll cost him a couple of yards. This presentation of the Capital One Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching the Capital One Bowl.
Overcome the big man gonna try. Overcome the big man, everybody step aside. Move it on over, oh, let the big man by. Overcome the big man.
Welcome back to the Capital One Bowl in Orlando, Florida. The Gators, after tying it up, are driving. They have reached the Michigan 13-yard line as we start the second quarter of play. Harvin, the motion man. Tebow fakes it to him. Whistle blows the play dead. Let's take a look at the Pac Life game summary.
56.
That'll cost the Gators 5 yards. 106-93. Not much of a difference. The big difference so far, the penalty yardage, 35 with 5 penalties in the first quarter.
And Michigan coming into the game averaging only 4.8 penalties per game. 5 in the first quarter of this bowl game. So not a good start in that respect for the Wolverines.
2nd and 17. The Gators going in the wrong direction after 1st and goal from the 12. Pass outside, too low. Incomplete. Little pushing and shoving afterward by Caldwell and Trent.
Well, holding on Florida. So they continue to go backwards. I guess they're trying to even out those penalties here.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Offside. Number 73 defense, holding offense number 73. Those penalties will offset. We'll replay the down.
So at least Michigan wasn't penalized in yardage on that one.
You know, the one thing that has hurt Michigan and Florida so far are taking advantage of is the starting field position for Florida's drives. I mean, one of it was from the Pooch kickoff after the touchdown, and the other 2 because of good punt returns by Brandon James, but they started on their own 42, their own 41, and then this drive on the Michigan 29.
5 wide receivers. Harvin slot left. They'll go underneath to Bubba Caldwell instead. On the bubble screen, and Caldwell touchdown. Drew Miller, the center, got out in front and threw him a block. They've got wide receivers who will commit to blocking, and that makes that play work. Joey Ehas for the point after. He's hit on 69 of 70 this year. The Gators take the lead for the first time today on top, 14-7 over Michigan.
The Capital One Bowl on ABC, brought to you by the new Capital One Card Lab at CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet? Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And the 2008 Fusion.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. Pretty picture, isn't it?
Yep, it is. You know, they had to repaint the stadium. They had the Champ Sports Bowl here earlier in the week, and we had some rain. They had to bring helicopters in to dry the field so they could finish the paint job, and it looks beautiful here on game day.
It does.
How about Joey Eos, the big tackle on the last kickoff return? I got to throw out a little love to a kicker when he does something like that.
And that wasn't a kicker's tackle either.
No, that was a linebacker type tackle.
Low line drive on this one. Taking it to 30 up to the 44-yard line.
We go back to
that was Jonas Mouton. Excuse me, Todd.
Last Florida touchdown. Caldwell gets his name in the paper, but watch these three interior linemen. What's going to happen? Miller is going to go out and block here. Jim Tartt's going to go downfield to get a block, and Marquise Pouncey's going to go out here. All three guys will release and get a piece of a Michigan defender, so Caldwell gets in the end zone. First it's Drew Miller. He gets his block. Then Pouncey, and at the end, Jim Tartt. All three linemen released, got a piece of a defender, and Caldwell walked into the end zone.
Now, the key to that, you've got to throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage so those guys can go downfield. Manningham on the end around.
Michigan needs to respond here. They've got excellent field position. After that kickoff return, they've got to go back to being aggressive in their offensive attack because they knew coming in, we're going to have to score points. And if we're not going to shut out Florida, our defense, even if they play well, Florida's going to score. And they've scored on everybody. The top scoring offense in the SEC. So Michigan needs to score with Florida to win this ball game. And they've got a great situation field position-wise to do it.
Manningham comes to the solo side of the receiving corps. And Hart is wrapped up in the backfield. Good play by Dustin Doe, the weak side linebacker. Second leading tackler on this team.
One area where Florida has been really good defensively is in their run defense. They finished the season the top rush defense in the SEC for the second year in a row. So Greg Madison, the co-defensive coordinator, was a defensive coordinator at Michigan earlier in his career. Spent 5 years coaching the Wolverines, so he knows how Michigan loves to run the football. And Florida up for it right there.
3rd and 6. Henne will change the play again. He was so hot early, has done nothing since, as the Gators have adjusted very, very well. Henne under pressure, throws underneath. Arrington had the first down, gave it up, got it back, and is belted for his trouble. Tony Joyner took him down, and it was Matthews, not Arrington.
Matthews has really come on as a solid number 3 receiver. He's 6'3", 207-pound sophomore out of Orlando, Florida, to complement Adrian Arrington and Mario Manningham on the outside. That's why, again, this offense, they were expected to be so good with Mike Hart, Chad Henne, and Jake Long and these wide receivers, but injuries really never allowed them to be as explosive as they thought they'd be.
Henne to Manningham, flanker screen. Shakes a tackle, got a block. 10, 11 yards, and it looks like another first down at the Gator 34. You know, you can see that adrenaline rush has worn off. Now it's back to who's going to play the best.
That's right. It's about getting the ball in the hands of your playmakers and guys making plays in space. I mean, it's that 3-on-3 matchup. I really think at the end of this ball game, that's what it'll come down to. Manningham with a big play right there.
And so far, Hart is the only one of those 6 guys that you identify who's not had a big game.
And I think because Michigan has to throw to open up running lanes for Mike Hart.
Hart to Manningham, double reverse. Well, you can tell how dangerous Manningham is. He always seems to make that first guy miss after he has possession of the ball. Jacques Rickerson made the tackle after Derek Harvey missed him initially.
I'm not so sure that Manningham wasn't going to throw that football either. It looked to me like they might have tried to set up a throw, but because Harvey got such great penetration, it forced Manningham to decide to run the ball. I'm not sure about that, but that's what it looked like. I think the better that Michigan throws the football later in the game, then you'll have more running opportunities for Mike Hart. But to line up and just try to run against Florida is going to be tough.
Hart lost his footing as soon as he got the ball. Of course, there's that element of that big Michigan offensive line wearing down the Gators as the game goes on, and that's really where you want those guys in the fourth quarter to just be able to grind it out.
A lot of shotgun, spread type runs, a zone run out of the shotgun, and that time Mike Hart tripped over his quarterback. Chad Henne's left foot didn't get pulled out of there quite quick enough, and before he even got to the line of scrimmage, Mike Hart was tripped up.
Hart's been stopped behind the line of scrimmage on his last 3 carries. Henne did the shotgun on 3rd and 7. Manningham.
Wow, what a throw.
Ball came loose,
it's a catch.
Late.
What a beautiful throw by Chad Henne in between the corner and the safety. And if you throw that with too much air under it, there's no way that the receiver makes the catch. Watch this thrown on a line. In between the corner and the safety, drops it right in there. And Manningham with another big play. If you throw this too high, the safety comes over and belts the receiver, and it's not a completion. You have to throw that on a line.
Right between Hayden and Wright.
Well, that was a big-time play on 3rd down for Chad Henne.
1st and goal. Henne on a half roll, back to long. They were going to throw to the tight end as an eligible receiver on a screen.
Yeah, it has to be behind the line of scrimmage. You know, you can't declare to be an eligible receiver in college football like you can in pro football. So it was a design trick play, and the key is it has to be thrown behind the line of scrimmage. Now, he was open, but Henne, Chad, I mean, you got to give the big fella something easy to handle. I mean, it's one thing if you want Mario Manningham to make a circus catch, but not at 6'7", 315.
Well, at 6'7", Wilt Chamberlain couldn't have caught that ball.
Yeah, they put my man in a tough situation right there.
So a chance to be an offensive star goes by the board for Long. Henne underneath, and that time throwing to his fullback, Moondross, who makes his 3rd catch of the entire season. He hasn't run the ball, so he is little used. Hayden was there for the tackle and the flag.
Be interesting what this call is, because if it's against Florida, it'll put him closer to the goal line. Against Michigan, it really takes him out of good situation right here.
The player was down. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 51. Defense. Half distance to the goal from the succeeding spot. Not a down.
51 is the middle linebacker, Brandon Spikes.
Well, the tough part is that gives them an automatic 1st down, too. Brandon Spikes is right here. He's going to come in late at the end of the play and hit Arrington right in front of 2 officials.
Silly.
It's a good call and a costly call because it gives Michigan, instead of 3rd down, an automatic 1st down.
They have been chippy since before this game started. And Hart is swallowed up by Derek Harvey. He's having a heck of a game from that defensive end spot.
You know, the thing that Derek Harvey really got better at this year was playing against the run, and we're seeing it in this ball game. They asked him to play inside more, not just as an outside rush the passer kind of guy, and he really responded to that. And I think part of that is knowing that, you know what, if he's going to go to the next level and be a defensive end, he's going to have to be able to hold up against the running game, and he did that much better this season.
Coach has said his entire game progressed, but that in particular. Henne, fullback wide open, dropped it right in the hands of Moondross.
You know, it looked to me like Moondross tried to catch that ball with his hands in a funny position. Instead of just naturally putting his hands out to catch, it looks like he reversed his hands. Watch this. The ball's coming. Well, I don't know.
He fought it, that's for sure.
He did fight it a little bit.
Well, this is a guy they've thrown to twice here. He has 2 catches all year long, so Michigan's offense may be outsmarting itself. Third and goal. Back to Hart off the right side. Touchdown.
Boy, nice check at the line of scrimmage by Chad Henne. That was a run check. Florida expecting pass all the way on that 3rd down play. Chad Henne saw what he liked on the right side of his offense. He brought Mike Hart back in motion and lined him up in the backfield and checked to a run for the touchdown.
All season long, we've been counting down the top 25 players in college football history. We'll give you a look at them and what we have planned for you today. After that play, a couple of players, one from Michigan and one from Florida, exchange slaps to the side of the helmet. And that PAT was no good.
Offside, number 23 defense. The penalty will be declined. The point after is good.
Barely got inside the right upright. And as we said all season long, we've been counting down the 25 best players in college football ever. When we come back, we'll show you number 2.
IBM presents the 25 greatest players ever. Number 2, Barry Sanders. During his 1988 Heisman-winning season, Sanders set 25 NCAA records, including 239 rushing yards per game and 39 touchdowns, neither of which has been threatened to this day. IBM, getting it done.
Before that, he was a backup to Thurman Thomas. Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
The number 1 player will be revealed during the Rose Bowl game, which is coming up right here on ABC. What a credit to the sport Barry Sanders was, not only in college but in the pros. Just a tremendous guy and a brilliant, brilliant player. Quit too soon.
Yep. Boy, he could make you look silly, couldn't he?
Oh.
Especially on that turf. You know, he played indoors or on turf. I mean, you had no chance.
Defensive players always had that deer in a headlight look when he was playing, and justifiably, because they were about to be run by, not run over.
Well, that was a great response by the Michigan offense. They had slowed down a little bit their last 2 offensive possessions. That time they started with good field position. They were aggressive. Chad Henne made a couple big-time throws and then made a great check near the goal line for the touchdown on 3rd down.
And if you're not a Michigan follower, you can tell why Chad Henne holds most of those significant Michigan quarterback records. As good as they have been at quarterback, he has been exceptional throughout his career. Moore and James are deep. And a beautiful kick. They'll retreat and it's out of bounds. They'll start from the 20.
I'm going to go back and show you why Chad Henne made the check. He sees these 3 Florida defenders. That's what's known as a bubble. So he knows, counting his center, he can get 4 blockers on 3. So he makes the check to get Mike Hart the football and run right into that defensive bubble. 3 defenders, 4 blockers, and Mike Hart. I like those odds. And Chad Henne did too, and Michigan got the touchdown.
Tied at 14 with 9:51 to go. So they went back to their bread and butter instead of the trick plays that they were coming up with.
I think the throwing game is what's going to open up holes for Mike Hart. They're not going to be able to just line up and run the ball on this Florida defense because they're quick and they play the run extremely well. But the throwing game will open up seams.
Harvin with that great quickness and speed. 50, it's a foot race. And Harvin finally taken out of bounds by Morgan Trent, who showed some speed as well. But it's a 66-yard gain.
Wow. Talk about speed. Woo. Aaron Hernandez, number 81, the freshman tight end, got knocked on his keister, but not before he opened up the lane for Percy Harvin. And you see why he is so electrifying. They line him up in a lot of different spots and get him the football.
Great hustle by Morgan Trent to save the touchdown.
For the season, coming into this game, he had 120 touches, 50 receptions, 70 carries, and he averaged almost 12 yards every time he touched the football. Now, he's a little bit like a thoroughbred, because if he's not 100% healthy, you know, he has a little bit of hard time turning it on. He missed a couple games earlier by tendonitis in his Achilles and in his knee. Then he missed 2 games late with migraine headaches. Didn't play against South Carolina or Florida Atlantic. But when he is healthy and all systems are go, he is tough.
Tebow will give to Keyston Moore, and the seldom used tailback fighting for extra yardage. Got down to the 7, and there's Tebow running into the pile trying to throw a block. He is a football player. Forget the quarterback stuff. He's a football player.
Yeah, and the players on the team. Yeah, no, I know. But the players on the team love him so much because his work ethic is better than anybody else on the team. And he knew, coming in as a freshman, that he knew that was the way to earn the respect of the players, was just to work harder than any of them.
And he's the guy when he gets close to the goal line. 22 rushing touchdowns. Going for 23 right here. Down to the 4. His running back right now is Brandon James, who's been used to spot Keyston Moore.
That should give them a first down inside the 4-yard line. Right now, Florida going to go to a little heavier lineup. They're bringing Ryan Stamper, who is a backup fullback, or actually a backup linebacker, in to play fullback. Now, their starting fullback, Eric Rutledge, is not here. He was not able to make the trip, a violation of team rules, and so they've had to do some different things. So Stamper in right now, 41, as a lead back. Here he is right here.
Michigan will use a timeout on defense with 8:33 to go as they tend to Harvin. Coming up, we will talk to the new Michigan football coach. Rich Rodriguez will join us here. Welcome back to the Capital One Bowl. The Gators have reached the 3-yard line. Tebow in the shotgun.
They have Stamper in again. That backup linebacker is a lead blocker for Tebow.
And Harvin is not back in there, and Tebow straight ahead. May have lost a yard.
I think that's why Michigan called timeout. They saw a different personnel group. They saw Stamper in the game. They wanted to make sure they were prepared for that particular run right there, and they were right there to stop it.
2nd and goal now from the 4, and there's Percy Harvin. Good news for the Gators. Harvin goes out to the slot on the far side. Caldwell and Murphy, the other wide receivers. Tebow with that fake. Caldwell was wide open. Then he throws for Harvin. And again, Harvin is wide open in the end zone. But there's a flag down on the play. Percy Harvin continues to walk downfield, and nobody goes with him.
Well, and part of that is because they line him up in different spots all the time. Illegal motion on the Gators is going to take this touchdown away, but you got to give Dan Mullen, the offensive coordinator for Florida, a lot of credit because they move Harvin around enough that they don't allow you to kind of lock in on him play after play.
Urban Meyer out trying to figure out who is responsible for the motion penalty that cost him a touchdown, and he is really steamed.
I'm not sure they had enough guys on the line of scrimmage. I think that was the problem there. But a break for the Wolverine defense. Now Harvin is in a slot this time to the right side of the formation. The inside receiver to Tebow's right.
Tebow looking in his direction again, and he couldn't hold this one.
Well, I tell you what, I think at this point now, if you're going to run underneath of the linebacker, I would lock a safety on him over the top and say, Tim, throw to somebody else. I mean, you can't just wholesale commit your defense to one guy, but that's who Tim Tebow's looking for right now.
How about committing one guy to him?
Well, that time they did have a linebacker underneath, but that's a bit of a mismatch. Percy Harvin working against a linebacker.
Rich Rodriguez has been kind enough to join us. We'll get to him in a second.
Harvin to the left now.
Caldwell is stacked behind him. And Tebow smothered.
Jamar Adams, the safety, the second time has come on a safety blitz. They brought the house at Tim Tebow and got the sack.
You said they've got to be aggressive and take chances.
You got to put pressure on him. You can't let him sit back there and see the field because their athletes are too fast and get into open spaces.
Ehas will come on to try the field goal from 35.
What Urban's more upset with is that they had a touchdown called back by a penalty, and Harvin dropped another one that could have been a touchdown.
Block. Michigan can score on this play if they can go the distance. They blocked the field goal, and it was Terrence Taylor, the left tackle, who came through and got a piece of it.
Terrence Taylor blocked it. Tim Jamison is the guy who came up with the football. He wasn't about to pitch it. I mean, he wanted to try to score a big tip.
Over. Personal foul, number 67 on the defense. The penalty was a dead ball foul. It'll be assessed 15 yards from the succeeding spot. Michigan will keep the ball. First down.
That's Taylor, the man we think blocked the field goal, called for the personal foul.
Yeah, Terrence Taylor is right in the middle of the formation, right over the center, and he's going to come in here and get the block. Number 67, watch him drive through the center, get his right arm up, and then Jamison is going to come up with the football. Now, the problem with that penalty is they still have decent field position, but they had outstanding field position after that block to be aggressive again offensively.
Henny to the shotgun. Manningham in motion, and he'll get the carry. Trying to take it outside, cuts it back, picks up about 5. Rich Rodriguez, the new coach for the University of Michigan, starting tomorrow.
All right, yeah, we're getting a quick start on it.
Excited?
Yeah, very excited. Obviously, there's been a lot of emotions the last couple of weeks on both sides, and I'm excited about getting the staff together, get a chance to meet the team beginning next week.
First question that comes up is, you didn't go to Alabama last year, signed the new contract, but you go to Michigan this year. What's the difference in your mindset that you would take one job and not the other?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, there's a lot of things that happened and probably come out later. The biggest thing that is a great opportunity for them at the University of Michigan, the tradition and the things that they've done in the past, the things we hope we can build on in the future. And it's a great opportunity not only for me, but for the entire coaching staff and my family.
Michigan, after the blocked field goal, starts at its own 31. Henny. Tight end screen goes to Butler, and Butler to the 10-5. Out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
Michigan has stayed aggressive offensively in this game. A lot of different looks, a lot of different types of plays. You know, the throw to the screen, the throwback to Jake Long didn't work, but this throwback screen to the tight end Butler did.
Rich, can you find a place for a 247-pound tight end next year?
Guys that can run like that. Coach Carter's staff have done a terrific job. The guys are playing hard, and it's a great ball game.
Hart is in the backfield with Henny. They mark it out at the 4. First and goal. Hart tries a cutback, no room. Ball's loose. Gators have it. Holy cow.
Did you say Mike Hart fumbled?
I did.
Coming into this game, that just doesn't happen. 993 consecutive carries without a fumble coming into this ball game. And a costly
basically one right there inside the 5-yard line. Mike Hart got the ball protected pretty well, but it looked like Jermaine Cunningham, number 49, came from the backside and knocked that football out for the Gators.
How can you coach? I mean, the emotion, it's just got to be torturous being on the sideline.
Well, Mike Hart's such a great competitor. I know he'll come back and make a play, and I'm really proud of the way the guys have responded. It's a tough situation when you have a transition, and they stay focused, obviously, during the whole bowl preparation.
And they'll whistle this one down.
Coach, one of the questions I have, and obviously it was such a crazy year in college football.
Play game, offense.
Most people, and I'm sure you as much as anybody, expected West Virginia to beat Pitt in that last game. We were there. I guess my question is, if West Virginia wins that game and you guys are playing in the national championship game, are you the coach at Michigan? Does this happen?
That's a tough scenario. You're trying to make me lose sleep again, bringing back the Pitt game.
Right.
It's that was a tough ball game. Obviously, if we won that, we'd have been a chance to play for it all, and maybe would never gotten called, and maybe wouldn't responded to it. But you know, it's in the past, and I'm anxious to move on.
Penalty backs Tebow up inside the 2. Tebow just trying to get out of the end zone and makes it out near the 1. Of course, the culture is going to change around this program because you have been so famous for the spread offense. They have traditionally been this power running team playing, quote, Michigan football in the dead of winter in the north. How is this change going to be accepted?
Well, I think it'll be accepted fine. I mean, everybody just wants to have success, and a lot of traditions of Michigan we're not going to change. But if you see today, they've been opened up with a spread offense, and they've had great success with it. And we have to be able to adapt to our personnel, and I think we'll be able to do that.
Let me ask you about the buyout clause in your contract. You have $4 million in cash on you?
Oh, no. I was surprised to read that over the ticker myself. You never want to see bad news anyway, but to see it on TV, reading the paper first was a little bit of a shock to me.
Caldwell looked like he cut off his pattern, and that pass was incomplete.
You know, Coach, back to the spread offense, and obviously Chad Henne, a 4-year starting quarterback here at Michigan. He's on his way out. Ryan Mallett is a young, talented quarterback, maybe not the kind of quarterback that you would have recruited at West Virginia, but how do you adapt to a quarterback like that? And have you talked to Ryan about giving you a chance?
I have talked to Ryan. I tell in the spread, you have the ability to adapt to your offensive skill players, whether it's a thrower, a runner, or both. And we've done that in the past, and we can do that in the future as well.
Gators trying to get out of a big hole here. Tebow under pressure, hit as he throws. Harbin breaks the tackle. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 12-yard line.
And even deep down in the end zone, there's still pressure. And I think that is the way you have to go after Tim Tebow. Don't let him get comfortable. Nice job of bringing pressure, forcing the underneath throw.
Well, at least you and Rita don't have to change the color scheme. It's still blue and gold, right?
Yeah, anything that has a logo, we have to obviously change. But all the blue and amazing blue stuff that we've had from the past, we can carry with us.
You know, you mentioned your staff and putting your staff together. How far along are you on that? I mean, is your staff complete? You still have a few issues there or not?
Yeah, we still have a few guys. We'll let this punt go, but fair catch, I guess I can talk. You know, obviously I have a few guys that I'm loyal to. West Virginia know the system, that help in the transition. I've talked to several other coaches, some that are in bowls, so I didn't want to disrupt anybody else's bowl preparation more than I already have. And once the bowls are over here in a few days, I'll put the staff together, and by next week we'll have it all together.
Coach, congratulations.
Thanks,
yeah, it's a great fit, I think.
We wish you the best.
Thanks,
we know you'll win at Michigan.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Orlando. Here is today's Aflac trivia question. Michigan currently has the longest active bowl streak of 33 years in a row. Florida's third with 17, but who is second? It's a sandwich pick. Aflac. The Ducks out of control. We'll give you the answer later on.
The last time Michigan had a football, great drive, a Mike Hart fumble inside the 5-yard line. They start again with excellent field position.
Hart. I think it's a good call. You want to get him right back in the action. Let's go to Matt Weiner. Matt?
All right, Mike. The closing moments of the Outback Bowl got a little tense for Tennessee. trying to protect a 4-point lead, but Wisconsin driving. Tyler Donovan to the air. Picked by Antonio Wardlow, and that does it. Phil Fulmer earns his 9th 10-win season. They take the Outback 21-17. Mike?
Another Big Ten SEC matchup.
SEC hasn't lost in the postseason yet, have they? Auburn, a big win last night in the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
They've been tough, as you might expect. Henny gives it to Hart again. Room to run this time. Hart,
he's got to protect that 36. He's got both arms on the football. This is a draw play that sprung against the Florida defense. He hasn't had a lot of open spaces to run. Nice double team at the point of attack and some nifty running by Mike Hart. Also the tight end Carson Butler with a nice block.
Check in with Holly.
Watch Hart cover up that ball.
Well, guys, Mike Hart couldn't believe he fumbled last time out. He's been over on the sideline. He kept looking down at his hands and laughing as if maybe there was something wrong with them, guys. He couldn't believe he did it.
Hart's out as a flanker on this one. Manningham back to Henny. Henny will look deep. Underthrown, intercepted at the 1-yard line. Picked off by Major Wright like he was fielding a punt. It was intended for Arrington, but that ball was woefully underthrown.
Well, I was wondering if there were any more trick plays in the Michigan bag, and I think Florida was expecting one more.
I think they're still looking for one that works, Todd.
Well, they tried to go with a double pass. It was a reverse. They threw it back to Henny, and Henny was throwing. Watch Major Wright, though, stay right back in center field. What you want your free safety to do is play pass first and run second. Major White is a freshman who a lot of times gets his nose up in there and wants to hit somebody. That time he did his job by staying deep in center field and making the interception. So twice now, Michigan, with great field position and momentum, turns the football over to Florida.
2 turnovers in the last 4 snaps. The Gators, however, pinned back at the 1. Tebow under pressure. Throwing deep. Good coverage. Caldwell was trying to get to the inside where the ball was thrown, but Morgan Trent with sensational coverage.
Yeah. And Michigan is with Florida backed up, playing man coverage. Morgan Trent does a nice job of staying step for step with Caldwell, and a good no call. And by playing man, that means you can commit more guys to rush Tim Tebow. They've done a nice job. They've done a nice job of putting pressure, and they've done a nice job of adapting to Tim Tebow running the football. His last 5 carries, only -4 yards.
By the way, the reason that wasn't a touchback is possession was gained in the field of play at the 1-yard line. So that's where the Gators were forced to start. Welcome back to Orlando. The answer to tonight's trivia question we asked you earlier: Michigan currently with the longest active bowl streak, 33 years in a row. Florida third with 17. Who is second? Todd, I know. Yeah, what you And they really acquitted themselves well yesterday, I thought.
They played well. 36 players not able to participate for the Seminoles, but they hung in there with Kentucky before falling.
Tebow from the end zone. 5-man rush. He has time. Got it to Harvin. Good block from England. And look at the little guy fight for yardage across the 20.
Well, you're right. I mean, that shows you the strength and the competitiveness of Harvin. I mean, you look at his numbers, you say, not very strong. 5'11", 187. But he shows some power here, catching it in the middle of the field. And then it's a matter of getting him on the ground if you're Michigan. Don't let him explode into your secondary. But it took 3 defenders to get him to the ground. A lot of time for Florida here.
Blitz coming off the edge. Tebow under pressure. Back across the middle. Caught by Caldwell. He'll actually lose a yard as he was covered very well by Engelman. And Harrison came over as well.
Yeah, more man coverage for Michigan. I think they're feeling more confident that they can get some pressure on Tim Tebow. And as long as you have even a quarterback that is a Heisman Trophy quarterback, if you get him throwing, backing up, and on the move, and not able to set his feet and really step into throws, then you have a little bit of an upper hand. And they are winning a little bit of the battle up front in terms of getting pressure on Tim Tebow.
This time they bring 4. The pocket collapses and Tebow throws incomplete. Time to go to John Saunders in Pasadena. John.
Mike, thanks a lot. Coming up on the Pontiac G8 halftime report, there's a look at head coach Ron Zook, coach of the year around the nation, head coach of Illinois, and of course he was a former head coach of the game you guys are doing right now. Craig James and Doug Flutie with me as well, looking ahead of the Rose Bowl.
Well, Ron Zook yesterday at the kickoff luncheon, he had sweat on his upper lip. Wonder if that means anything.
Yeah, but mobile quarterbacks have given USC a tough time in the past, so there's a hope. There's a chance. You're saying there's a chance.
1 in a million.
It's all coming up on the Pontiac G8 halftime report. Mike, back to you.
John, thanks so much. Tebow goes to the shotgun from the 21. Under pressure again and nearly intercepted.
And those 2 plays, the last 2 plays were pressure with 4 guys and then 3 guys, and they get enough pressure on Tim Tebow. They are winning the battle up front. Here's the 4-man rush. They push the tackle right back into him, and that's Carlton Metter that just gets pushed right back into the quarterback Tebow.
And Brandon Graham nearly got him from behind. Then Obi Azay nearly had the interception.
Yeah, but it starts up front, and Michigan's defensive front, which is very stout, has done a nice job here in the second quarter.
Matthews is deep for Chaz Henry's punt. Another fair catch makes it at the 38-yard line. Let's take you back to 2001 for today's Capital One Bowl flashback. It's Michigan against Auburn. And the A-train, Michigan running back Anthony Thomas rambled for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was named the Bowl's MVP deservedly, and Michigan won it 31-28 over Auburn. Michigan, one of the few teams in the Big Ten that has had great success against the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, they're one of the few teams. Ohio State, who's playing in the national championship game against LSU, 0-8 against SEC teams going into that ball game.
Lloyd Carr tied up 14-14 with Florida. Henny thought he was going to be sacked. They went right by him. He ducked and then took off and picked up a couple.
Michigan going to a hurry-up offense, 2-minute offense, trying to stay on the aggressive, even though turnovers have stopped their last 2 drives. It's been a very good plan of being aggressive offensively with Chad Henne in control.
4-man rush for the Gators. Henne protected well this time and throws incomplete. That one was knocked down.
That was great coverage.
Dustin Doe, the weak side linebacker's got a lot of speed like most of these Gator defenders.
He was running underneath coverage on the tight end, Carson Butler, who was the intended receiver. Speaking of good receivers, I think that's Braylon Edwards on the Michigan sideline. Pretty good receiver now for the Cleveland Browns. On his way to the Pro Bowl. The Browns not able to get into the playoffs down to the last weekend, but boy, did he have an outstanding season up in Cleveland.
3rd and 12. Henne goes to the shotgun. Manningham to the top of your screen. Here comes the blitz. Henne steps up in what's left of the pocket. Manningham makes the catch. Should be enough for a first down just into Gator territory.
And did you see Carson Butler? There were 2 receivers in the same area. Carson Butler said, I don't think this one's coming for me. He backed away and let Manningham catch the ball. And somehow Michigan converts on 3rd and long.
Good choice on his part.
Yeah.
Manningham to the near side this time. That one is tipped up in the air. The Gator and a flag comes down very, very late.
They're going to call Major Wright, the free safety, coming over the top, I think.
Joe Hayden made a great play, and I think you're right. Major Wright got there late.
I don't know. Was that a pass interference call? I thought it was going to be a personal foul, but it looked like the official signaled pass interference.
Defense, number 15.
It must be 12.
It's got to be 12. There is no 15.
Yeah, it must have been Joe Hayden. Take a look again. He's working on Manningham. There's the left hand on the back. He made a great play with his right hand, but an illegal play with his left hand, and then he paid the penalty for it because Major Wright drilled Joe Hayden. Manningham ducked underneath, and Hayden got popped.
But the question is, you can touch a receiver. Unless you move him around with that offhand, it's not supposed to be interference. And you didn't see any movement. Here's Hart on the draw. So sometimes the appearance of that is enough to get a flag.
And one of the reasons Michigan went to that no huddle back with about 2:30 left is they have no timeouts. They had to use all their timeouts in the first half. So they are working against the clock right now, trying to go into the locker room at halftime with at least a 3-point lead, if not a 7-point lead.
They're at the outer fringes of field goal territory right now. This pass is incomplete as Henne was under pressure again.
And for the second time, Carson Butler and the intended receiver Manningham were in the same spot. I mean, they got away with it on 3rd and 12. That time they weren't able to connect, and someone is wrong there because you don't ever want that kind of spacing in your passing game.
It's a good way to get one picked off, isn't it? You got that extra defender in there.
That's right.
Butler, of course, had that huge 66-yard play on the tight end screen earlier. The numbers on Henne after a 6 of 6 start. Chad throws near side right at the sticks.
Well, this will be an interesting spot because he had the first down and he backed up a little bit to try to make a bigger play. I think he's still going to get it.
Yeah, they give Manningham a good spot.
Boy, if you want to know how strong Chad Henne's arm is, that's the throw that shows you. Left hash, throw to the right sideline, and he threw it right on a line to Manningham. This is a long throw for any quarterback. Ball gets there, Manningham gets the first down, and Michigan with a new set of downs.
Hart on the draw again. The Gators looking for it.
Well, the tough thing about trying to slip a draw in there now is you have no timeouts. I mean, anytime you run the football and get stopped, that clock is still rolling. Chad Henne's got to pick up the tempo right now for this Michigan offense. You want at least a great shot at 3 before you go into the locker room.
2nd and 11. Henne to the goal line. Arrington.
Yeah, touchdown.
Caught it right at the goal line. Jacques Rickerson was the closest Gator to it, but Arrington went to the ground to make the catch from Henne.
Well, watch again. Matthews, the slot receiver, occupies the inside defender. It's one-on-one coverage outside, and Henne with another beautiful throw and a great catch by Arrington. They got the post for 2 touchdown passes against single coverage. Both times Henne with a great throw.
Now they're going to review this one. Did you see at the end of the play that Rickerson turned around and pointed to himself like, was I supposed to have him inside?
I think he pointed to himself saying, that was my mistake, my fault. Was he across before his knee was down? The ball?
No.
No. They're going to mark that just inside the 1-yard line, I think. The beauty of the replay system is a great catch, a great throw. But I think the proper ruling will be that he is down just inside the 1-yard line. And again, remember, Michigan with 38 seconds left, no timeouts.
The rule says it's where the ball is when the player is down. And it appeared the ball was short of the goal line with 38 seconds left.
Michigan did a great job of picking up the blitz that time because Florida came with pressure and went straight man-to-man, 0 coverage. That left one-on-one for Arrington, and Henne found him.
Yeah, he's down because the ball is against his chest, so it's obviously not in the end zone. What you can do now, even with no timeouts, with 38 seconds left, you could run if you wanted to, because you can get up and kill the clock.
Yeah, you just got to get up quick, line up, and spike the football.
The Gators have been aggressive on defense. They have already made 8 tackles behind the line of scrimmage in this game.
After review, the ruling on the field will be reversed. The catch was made. It was a completed pass, but the receiver did not break the plane of the end zone with the ball. ball. The ball will be placed at the 1/2-yard line on the left hash mark. First and goal.
Now, personally, to me, this college review system is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the NFL do it. I don't think they ever will, but this is terrific for college football.
Now, the question here is, do you just quarterback sneak it with Henne? I think Florida's going to take a timeout. Or do you take it off the line of scrimmage and give it to Hart?
We'll find out when we come back to the Capital One Bowl in Orlando. Coming up after the game, the Built Ford Tough pregame show. Hope you'll stay tuned for that. Gators had to call a timeout on defense. Remember, Michigan with no timeouts. It will be first and goal just inside the 1. But with 38 seconds to go, they do have time, at least on first down, to call whatever play they might want.
But if you call a run on first down and don't score and you have to spike on second, then that gives you really only one other down to take a shot at anything different.
You want to pass, you've got 3 cracks at it.
I think you spread them out, and if you can run a quarterback sneak here, you run the quarterback sneak. And the way it looks right now, I'd run quarterback sneak left, right behind your left guard, Justin Boren, and your left tackle, Jake Long. Spread them out by formation and see if you can sneak it in with Chad Henne. Because Florida is not in a goal line type defense right now. They're in a regular personnel defense with this formation.
Long, the All-American tackle. Henne fumbled the snap.
Clock is stopped until they unpile and see where everybody's at.
They got it back. A bad exchange between the center and Chad Henne.
Now the clock is going to start up again. They've got to spike the football now. They've got to snap it and spike it. Clock is running inside at 22nd. Well, he ran a play.
They throw for the sideline, knocked away by the Gators. Joe Hayden with a heck of a play. Arrington was the intended receiver, and they got away with not spiking it.
And that's okay. You know, that's a good chance as long as you're on the same page and know what you're doing. Arrington, a 6'3" receiver, take a shot that he can win a jump ball. Now with the clock stopped, you get in the huddle and you call a normal play down here for the 1-yard line. Now this almost has to be a pass, and Chad Henne cannot take a sack. If he doesn't have what he wants, he's got to throw it away and settle for a field goal.
Arrington in the slot to the near side. Henne rolls that way under pressure, throws for the end zone. Arrington, touchdown. Players in the Gator secondary talking to each other as to what happened. We've seen a lot of that so far.
Boy, nice job of moving Chad Henne in the pocket. He rolls out. He throws a perfect throw on the run to the corner of the end zone to Arrington. Well-designed play and a perfect throw by Chad Henne. Arrington made the big catch to get him down there and then comes away with the touchdown.
Hats off to Michigan. They went 62 yards in 11 plays and scored with under 10 seconds to go in the half.
With no timeouts. And again, a senior 4-year starting quarterback can manage the clock and manage the team in that kind of fashion with no timeouts.
Tradition continues here with the Rose Bowl game as the Illinois Fighting Illini makes its first trip to the Rose Bowl game since 1984 to face the Trojans of USC. The Rose Bowl game coming up later right here on ABC. USC a heavy favorite in that game, Todd. Well, Illinois have a shot?
Yeah, I think they do have a shot, but they're going to have to play the best game of their season all year. USC was one of those teams that everybody thought was going to be contending for the national championship. Injuries really hurt their season, much like this Michigan team, but they are pretty healthy right now and very explosive. For Illinois, I think it comes down to they've got to be able to run the football with Mendenhall, and then Juice Williams, as a mobile quarterback, not only has to run, they got to hit some big pass plays. They've got to have a balanced offensive attack to have a chance to beat the Trojans in that one.
Brian Wright to kick it away, goes with a squib kick on the ground, taken by one of the upbacks up to the 46-yard line. And it was Latrell Alford who came up with the squib and stops the clock with 4 seconds to go.
You know, that was a drive that Michigan almost had to capitalize on and score, because 2 drives before that, they got all the way to the 4, and Mike Hart fumbled. Then they got good field position after their defense held.
Right.
They tried the trick play and threw an interception. If they'd have gone into the locker room 14-14, it would have felt like they had squandered opportunities to have momentum. They get that score, and now they go in with a touchdown lead.
And they will go into the locker room now with everything in their favor, including momentum. So Michigan and Lloyd Carr's last game as the head coach of the Wolverines program, with a surprisingly effective first half leading the Gators. Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Coach Carr, you came out in the shotgun, kind of a spread thing to do your opening drive. How'd you describe what you're trying to do on offense here in this first half?
Well, we're trying to run the football more effectively than we did in the last 2 games. We've mixed it up. I think we've had good balance, and you know, we're doing a good job. We had great field position the first half, or the second quarter, and we made some plays. I think Chad Henne is doing an outstanding job, and we're getting good protection right now.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Our halftime score, Michigan over Florida, 21-14. Let's join John Saunders in Pasadena for the Pontiac G8 halftime report.
Alongside of Craig James and Doug Flutie, this is where we are set up and are ready for the Rose Bowl tonight, which we anticipate will be a great game. Lloyd Carr's final game as head coach at Michigan. I bet if you told him, hey, you're going to cough it up inside the 5, inside the red zone again, you're going to go to the locker room with the lead, he wouldn't like that.
No, he's pretty happy about where he is right now. But let me tell you who's jumping up and down on the sidelines. Rich Rodriguez. He's sitting there watching this ball game saying, holy mackerel, I'm getting that speed and that size and that talent. He's thinking about the passing game. Ryan Mallett, hey, you may have a chance out there. Coach Rod, you may have to tweak your little run offense.
How about the receiving core with Manningham, Arrington, and now this kid Matthews? He's 6'3", and the way Henne throws the football, yeah, that spread offense is going to be different for Mallett, huh?
All right, coming up on the Pontiac G8 halftime report, we, of course, will have a look at other scores and highlights from around the country. Some very interesting games. Big Ten taking it on the chin. Plus, we'll have a preview of the big game coming up tonight, the Rose Bowl. Welcome back to the Pontiac G8 halftime report. It is New Year's Day, but apparently some people haven't stopped celebrating from New Year's Eve last night as they get ready for the Rose Bowl. USC against Illinois. That one is coming up when we're done with the Capital One Bowl. Field goal looks like it's up, and it's good. Welcome, John Saunders here. Craig James and Doug Flutie rejoin me in just a moment's time. At the beginning of the year, I bet neither of these teams thought they'd be playing in the Rose Bowl. After all, Illinois was 2-10 last year, and USC always thinks they're going to be playing for the national championship game. But right now, both teams extremely happy to be here.
We're probably playing as well as we possibly could play.
I think we're playing just as good as anybody in the country.
I think we're at the we're playing as well as anybody else in the country.
I think we're playing lights out. We could play with any team in the country. You know, you can match us up with anybody, and I think we can hold our own.
These 2 teams are playing at really high levels when the season ended.
We were injured, midway through the season, and we were able to get healthy. And once we got healthy, there's no stopping us.
Everything was clicking. As far as the defense, special teams, offense, everything was just going in the right direction.
We feel that if there were a playoff system, that we'd be right there, in the mix, and would be pretty tough to beat right now.
As I said it before, no one expected Illinois to be in this game, so no one's really expecting them to win this game except for Illinois, and there are a lot of reasons to believe they can.
I was joking earlier about Ron Zook yesterday having a little sweat on his upper lip. I mean, he's intense, he's focused, he's ready to play this game. His football players are focused as well, and when you're on the road playing against a team like USC, you have to be physical. Illinois is physical. Rashard Mendenhall running the football gives them a chance. The aggression that he brings to the huddle and that they have when they run the football, and they can throw it when they need to. I think that's what they've got to rely on. They've got to come with an attitude in this game or they'll get beat.
That's the deal. Juice Williams has to be efficient throwing a football. He had 4 TD passes against Ohio State, and that's how they won that ball game. USC is tough. They're very talented on defense. They're healthy again for the first time. We saw a relatively healthy John David Booty against ASU light it up, and he's all the way healthy now. Defensively, they're flying around. I don't know how you beat this USC team.
Illinois, of course, playing for honor for the Big Ten, as Wisconsin was doing this afternoon in the Outback Bowl against Tennessee. We'll see how this one ended up. Eric Ainge has had a pretty darn good career there at Tennessee. Finds Josh Briscoe 29 yards on this touchdown pass.
You know, Ainge has just been very efficient all day, lightening up. The story of this game, though, for me has been Tyler Donovan on the other side, getting hit all day long and bouncing back. Ainge off his back foot drills this for the touchdown, but Wisconsin did not go away.
Neither, as you did mention, did Tyler Donovan. 4 yards to Andy Crooks. It's just a 21-14 game. They got it down to 21-17. Donovan goes long, but it's intercepted by Wardlaw.
You know, coming down the wire, he does get picked off, but like I said, Donovan was hitting the head. Shoot, it almost looked like he broke his neck, hurt his hand, and he had a knee injury as well in this ball game. Came back fighting.
10 wins for Tennessee again. Texas Tech against Virginia in the Gator Bowl. Graham Harrell to Datron Lewis. 7-0.
Linebackers can't do that. You've got no help on the inside. Easy pitch and catch on the option. Jamel Sewell here, the little Tim Tebow-ish kind of throw for the touchdown. Virginia, a couple of safeties in this game, missed an extra point. Come back, they get 2. I mean, this is a weird way to get to 21, but this is a backbreaker here. Texas Tech's defense has to make a job of stopping the runner at the line of scrimmage. 90-something yards, that'll break your back.
96 yards, the longest run in Gator Bowl history for the touchdown, as Virginia at that point grabs the lead. Now, also want to let you know that in the Cotton Bowl, Missouri against Arkansas, Missouri blows them out 38-7. Tony Temple, guys, how about this? 4 touchdown runs, 281 yards, both Cotton Bowl records.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable record there. But you know what? Missouri's a BCS team. They just happen to be playing the Cotton Bowl. Man, don't forget that. Missouri's a heck of a ball club.
When we look ahead to this second half of this contest right now, Tim Tebow, the Heisman Trophy winner, they've managed to keep him in check. He's had a pretty good first half, but not enough to have the lead.
You know, not a Tim Tebow type day running the football. Passing, his numbers are a little average. He's thrown a couple of touchdowns, but you know, the story of this game to me is the Michigan offense moving the football. They've run some trick plays and gotten caught and didn't come up with as many points as they could have.
Here's the bad news for Florida. I mean, Michigan, those 2 turnovers, and they're still, you know, where they are right now in this game. This is a football team, Michigan, that's playing with speed. This is a team that really, when you look at it, they felt like that they were going to be playing for a national championship this year. Now you can see why. When Henny's head in the pocket and steps into his throws like he does with his 6'3" and 4 wide receivers, they're good. And Mike Hart hasn't even gotten off yet. So you get Mike Hart running the ball. Florida's going to have to make some special plays here.
That senior group, Henny and Hart, have yet to win a bowl game. Yet to beat Ohio State. 0-4 against Ohio State. 0-3 in a bowl. They need this. They want it really bad, and they look like they're going after it.
Guess what? They're not going to beat Ohio State. That boat has sailed right now, but they do have a chance to win this bowl game against Florida. The second half of this one is coming up. We want to turn you to Orlando right now and rejoin our partner, Mike Patrick. Mike.
Time now for the University of Michigan Marching Band under the direction of Scott Burma. We'll be back with more from Orlando right after this. Now let's listen to the Florida Gator Marching Band directed by Jay Watkins. Halftime from Orlando will continue after this. Now for ESP Productions, the All-American Halftime Show.
folks, here's a story about Minnie the Moocher. She was a low-down hoochie-coocher. She was the roughest, toughest frail, but Minnie had a heart as big as a whale. Hidey, 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 hidey. Holy, 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 oh. Heedy, heedy, heedy. Hidey, 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 ho. Poor man, poor man, poor man.
We'll be back with more of the All-American halftime show from Orlando after this. The All-American halftime show continues with Joliet Jake and Elwood Blues, the Blues Brothers. This presentation of the Capital One Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
To ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Overcome the big man, full of hot mind. Overcome the big man, for big fish fry. Question big man, you know big man don't reply.
Welcome back to the Capital One Bowl. Let's take a look at the first half stats as Michigan leads it by a touchdown at the end of the first half. And the Wolverines actually with 62 more total yards than the Gators in the first half. You asked, will they come out and play with emotion in Lloyd Carr's last game, and will they play hard? Well, they've done that.
And will they be focused? And I think they were. They came out very aggressive in the first half. And really, they've got to stay that way in the second half. You know, they overcame the 2 turnovers. The only thing they gave up was a 66-yard run to Percy Harvin. Other than that, defensively, they did a very nice job on this Florida offense. Now, Florida, who we'll see first with the ball in the second half, they've got to do a better job of protecting their quarterback, Tim Tebow. Too much pressure there in the second quarter, and they've got to find ways to get the ball quickly to the perimeter to some of their speed guys. Maybe some quick throws, some screens to get Harvin, Caldwell, those kind of guys involved early in the offense.
The other thing you would think you would like to see Michigan do is occasionally cover Percy Harvin.
Yeah, they got to do a better job of accounting for him. But again, I really credit that to Dan Mullen, the offensive coordinator for Florida, how they move him around and they make it very difficult to double cover him because they put him in different spots just about every snap of the football.
Holly Rowe working the sideline for us, of course. Holly, what do you have?
Well, guys, I caught up with Urban Meyer coming out of the tunnel. I asked him what Michigan did on offense to surprise them in the first half. He said nothing. We were prepared for all that trick stuff. We could have just covered a couple of guys differently, and we would have prevented it. He did say that the officiating has been a little bit difficult in the first half. He said there's a lot of chippiness, a lot of pushing and shoving going around. And he said it really hurt them on that one play where they spotted the ball at the 1-yard line. He thought it should have been spotted at the 20-yard line. But he said, I've been talking to guys all week about not getting these personal fouls. Now they've just got to do it out here, calm it down a little bit.
Holly, you're right. You used the perfect word, chippy. It's been that way since even before the game started.
Yeah. And really, and again, I'm not to point fingers, but that started with Florida in the beginning of the game. I mean, Florida's team came out to midfield. They started jumping up and down the middle of the field, almost inviting the Michigan players to join in, and a few of them did. Lloyd Carr was right out there in the middle pushing his guys back, but that was really initiated by Florida, and I think it worked to their detriment because I think it helped Michigan's enthusiasm in the first half.
Yeah, Florida invited them. Michigan accepted the invitation. The ball is loose. Michigan says they have it.
They tried a pooch kick after their first touchdown. They start the second half with another pooch kickoff, and for some reason, one of the Florida kickoff return guys turned and ran away from the ball thinking he was going to go set up a block, and nobody caught the football.
Anton Campbell ended up with it for the Wolverines. What a break for Michigan.
Watch these guys get away from. They're trying to set up blocks instead of catching the football. They're thinking that Keyston Moore, number 33, is going to come up to catch the football, but he has too far to go. John Curtis, number 24, saw the ball, stopped to block, and by that time, a Michigan Wolverine recovered it. What a
great field position again. Manningham end around. Got away from Spikes, picked up about 4.
Mario Manningham has responded in this football game as well. I mean, he's a guy that in the Ohio State game, and he's an Ohio guy from Warren Harding High School, he had 4 drop passes in that game. He had 5 catches, but for a season low of 34 yards. Well, 5 catches in the first half tonight, 78 yards and a touchdown, and he's carried the ball 6 times on end arounds as well. So very active in the first half, Mario Manningham.
He's a lot like Harvin. They want to get him the ball as often as possible. Here's Harvin. Courageous runner down to the 21-yard line. Not the biggest guy, only 5'9", 202.
Well, they run the stretch play. They run it to the left side where they have most of their success. Jake Long and Justin Boren, the left guard. And he does a nice job of just waiting and seeing where the crease is and then bending it back towards the middle.
Boy, Long is one of those guys, you watch him play for about 5 minutes and you say, how good is this guy? Hard again. Spikes got a hand on the jersey and wouldn't let him go.
I don't think we'll see many more trick plays from Michigan. Not that they don't have any more, but I think they feel confident that they can move the football. A couple of them have backfired. A couple of them have worked. I mean, they've kept Florida off balance a little bit with some of the trick plays.
Shaking up on the play.
This is a thin position already for Florida. That's Michael Pouncey down. He was moved from offensive line because of injuries to the defensive line. Now he's down.
This ESPN production is available on ABC HD, presented by Olivia. Michael Pouncey able to get off the field with some assistance.
He's replaced by Justin Tradow, who's a talented freshman, number 94, right in there, but he's only 250 pounds. Is that a Don Bosco prep in New Jersey?
Blitz coming. Henny hangs in there, throws incomplete to Arrington at the 2. Let's go to Matt Weiner.
All right, Mike, a pair of Heisman finalists on the field of the Cotton Bowl, but neither Chase Daniel nor Darren McFadden could match Missouri running back Tony Temple's production. A Cotton Bowl record 281 yards rushing and a Cotton Bowl record 4 touchdowns. Mizzou, the highest ranked team in the BCS, not the BCS Bowl, sure looked like one. 38-7 over Arkansas.
That's a good football team. Chase Daniel will be one of the top returning players next year in college football. Another one of those coaching flux situations. Reggie Herring was the interim coach for Arkansas today.
First loss by an SEC team in the Bowls. Arrington down to the 2, pushed back from the goal line by Dorian Monroe.
Florida went with the blitz and somehow left Arrington wide open in the middle. Poor coverage. It was a zone blitz, and it was picked up. The blitz is going to come and get picked up, and Henny knows it's picked up, so he stays right in there, and in the middle of that zone defense, no underneath linebacker coverage. Arrington wide open for Henny. Knows his protection is solid, hangs right in there, doesn't panic, and makes a good throw.
If you blitz and don't get there, you're in a world of trouble. First and goal. Hart to the one and then shoved back.
Well, I just love the aggressive approach that Michigan has had from the start of this football game. Offensively, defensively, pressuring Tim Tebow, and even the way they started this second half. Pooch kick, they get the recovery, they steal the possession away from Florida, and now they're inside the 5-yard line with a chance to build a 2-touchdown lead.
Second and goal. Moondross, the fullback. Hart to the goal line, walks in, touchdown. And he gets up and walks right over to Spikes and says something to him. We've had guys woofing at each other all day long.
They're really too much from both teams. I mean, there really isn't a place for that. It's not sportsmanlike.
And not a single penalty call.
No. But the reality for Michigan is they ran over that left side behind Jake Long and Justin Boren, where they've done all season. And Mike Hart got him into the end zone.
Jake Long, not only first team Big Ten and an All-American, but an all-academic performer in the classroom. Michigan stunning Florida. They're up by 2 touchdowns.
The Capital One Bowl on ABC. Brought to you by the new Capital One Card Lab at CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet? Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life. The power to help you succeed. Chevy, an American revolution. And Southwest Airlines. With Southwest Airlines' convenient nonstop flights, it's like having your own company plane. Visit Southwest.com.
Our aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. Beautiful scene here in Orlando. Nice facility here for both of these bowl games we have been privileged to do. And Hart really did a great job on that drive. Finished it off after gaining 37 yards.
Hasn't had a whole lot of running room, not a lot of freedom to run, but he's run hard. He had the one fumble, but he's done a nice job. Again, he is kind of the heartbeat, the emotion of this Michigan offense.
Interesting to see how the Gators respond. Here's another Pooch kick. This one's taken it to 36. And what great respect for Florida's return game.
Go back to the touchdown. Why do you run left? Well, watch the block of left tackle Jake Long, left guard Justin Boren, and the center Adam Krause. Watch these three guys clear the way for Mike Hart. All three guys get outstanding blocks, and Mike Hart is able to take it right into the end zone. And then afterwards, a little talking. Mike Hart, and then he tells the linesman, it's not me. They're talking to me. Well, Mike Hart's a good talker, too. He's been talking since the beginning of the game as well.
Tebow fakes to Harvin, keeps it. Hammered as he got to the 47-yard line.
See, this is the other thing where Florida, at this point, I mean, it's not like they have a lot of other options because, if they say, okay, we've got to balance our offense and run the ball better, well, then he's the guy that runs it, he and Harvin.
That's right.
So it's not like they've got some other offensive running attack that they can go to. I mean, it's Tebow throwing it, and it's Tebow running it, and it's Harvin catching it, and Harvin running it.
Tebow looks to the sideline as Urban Meyer is over there, giving him the indication of what he might want to try. Harvin with a burst of speed inside the 40, spun down at the 37. Boy, he gets to that hole in a hurry.
When he's healthy, I mean, he is as dynamic and explosive of a player as there is in college football. Great speed and an ability to cut and change directions without changing speeds. Right there you saw a little subtle cut, planted the right foot, burst it back outside, did not slow down, and he makes people miss.
6 carries for 101, and he doesn't go down on first contact either.
Against Florida State, his last game, he carried it 16 times for 157 yards. So on his way to another night like that.
Tebow with time and very high to Andre Caldwell. Let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, you know it's notorious for Heisman Trophy winners to come out and kind of stink it up in the bowl game. But Tim Tebow really tried to avoid that. And Urban Meyer said, I really only saw one day after he came back to practice after being in New York and everything where he was awful. He was just kind of tired and had gotten worn down. But after that, he was full speed ahead. They actually had him sit down and watch all 3 of his losses, every snap, trying to really get him to refocus and let him know that, hey, there are things that we can improve on. And guys, I don't think they had to let him know. He's the one letting them know I'm going to get better.
Holly, you're exactly right. Here's Tebow with a 3-man on the blitz, throws underneath, complete. Todd, you had so much success at Penn State. I'm sure you had the same kind of focus, I think, that Tim Tebow does. You know, people patting you on the back saying how great you are. You're going to play for a national championship and the Sugar Bowl. But I'm sure you found different ways to keep your focus.
Well, you know, any quarterback, and especially one like Tim Tebow that's a perfectionist, and I think I was probably the same way most guys are. You know, if you're 9 for 10 in a game, you beat yourself up over the one that was incomplete. You know, so you're always trying to get better. You're always looking at your mistakes more than the things you did well and trying to find ways to be even better. And I think Tim Tebow is exactly like that.
Tebow takes off.
Job by Obaze. They pressured, they forced Tebow to leave the pocket, and in most cases that would be a big play with him running, and Aze is able to trip him up for a short gain.
That's a saving tackle right there. It kept him from getting a first down.
The pressure that Michigan has applied from about the second quarter on has made things kind of uncomfortable for Tim Tebow. Florida going for it now on 4th down here.
They're down 2 touchdowns. This is a good place to go for it from the 31. They have to get just inside the 27 for the first down. Michigan showing blitz, and they come with it. Tebow throws underneath Harvin. At least somebody was on him this time, and Engelman will make the tackle. But it is a first down for the Gators.
But again, they're forcing Tim Tebow to make hard throws under duress. They're not allowing him to be comfortable. They're bringing pressure, and they're saying, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us with heat. And he did that time for Harvin for the first down. But you got to credit Tim Tebow standing in there, knowing he's got unblocked guys coming at him, making a big-time throw on 3rd down, 4th down.
And the blitzes have been so efficient, he hasn't been able to run away from them either. Fake to Harvin. Tebow up the middle, spins off the tackle. He's down to the 16-yard line.
See the difference, and they played 2 spread teams early in the year, Appalachian State and Oregon, and they played poorly against both of those spread teams. The difference between Tim Tebow as a runner is he is a power runner more than he is a shifty, make-you-miss, get outside on the perimeter runner the way Dennis Dixon was against Oregon. So they can afford to be a little more aggressive blitzing Tim Tebow, knowing if he does run, he's running for power more than he is as an elusive type runner.
Tebow on the option. Harvin behind him gets the pitch.
You know, a lot of people thought, well, Michigan can't play the spread. That's why they thought that Florida was a decided favorite in this game. But, you know, they struggled against Appalachian State. And Appalachian State is a good football team. Ended up winning a national championship.
Again.
As we look at Ron English, the defensive coordinator. And then Oregon, I think, kind of surprised. There was a little bit of a hangover still from the first game. And Oregon was very good at that time. But they played 3 other spread teams later in the year and did well. Purdue, Northwestern, and Illinois, the team that's in the Rose Bowl, was a spread offense as well. Michigan beat all 3 of those teams.
3rd and just under 5 for Tebow. Under pressure. Tebow.
There's a holding call coming out. This one's coming back.
Tebow to the 1, but you're right. The flag is back at the 18-yard line.
Yeah, the official could not get the flag out of his pocket. He was reaching for it, and he was right in the middle of the play. But again, it's the pressure from 4 guys that collapses the pocket. Whoa, against Michigan. Face mask. Okay.
5 yards. Defense. They added to the end of the run. Half the distance. First down.
So a big break for the Gators. That play not taken away.
Well, where this flag was thrown, I thought it was a holding penalty. Sean Crable thought he got held, and then there was a penalty right there in the middle where they normally throw it for holding. It went against Michigan. First and goal for the Gators.
First and goal, inches away. Tebow still in the shotgun. Power run. Tebow, touchdown. 14 consecutive games. Tim Tebow has both a rushing and passing touchdown. That is a remarkable effort.
And Tim Tebow, that's how he did his talking after the touchdown. He just went in standing up, didn't go to the ground. That speaks volumes. I'm a quarterback. I'm running right at you. You know I'm coming, and you still won't put me on the ground.
Well, they say if something looks too good to be true, it isn't. Not in his case. This is the real deal. Welcome back to Orlando and the Capital One Bowl. Sellout crowd to watch Michigan and Florida, and they've seen a good one, 28-21. Wolverines lead here with 7:55 to go third quarter. Tim Tebow capping off that run. 23 rushing touchdowns this year. He's been quarterback.
And he had 23 yards rushing on that drive. 5 carries, only 18 yards rushing that whole first half. So, again, they don't have any other options. If they want to run the ball more, it's Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin both involved in that drive.
And Tebow just relishes that. You can just see it on his face.
Yeah, he does. I mean, like I said, he would like to run it every play that they'll call it if he could.
Well, he may get to do it in the last quarter and a half. Again, they kick to the sideline. This time, Minor takes it across the 30, powers his way to the 33. Here's Holler.
Well, Todd, you talked about earlier that what makes Tim Tebow so special aren't just the physical attributes, but his character. And much of that was developed by his parents, Bob and Pam. He grew up homeschooled with his brothers and sisters, but more importantly, they have an orphanage in the Philippines. And Tim said, I really developed some of my skills with teammates because I grew up with hundreds of brothers and sisters. And in fact, when he goes on spring break this year, he's trying to set it up so he can go to the Philippines, to that orphanage that his parents still have there. He's not going to party. He's going to go and do charitable work with those kids. And he said winning the Heisman has been a big help in some of their fundraising.
Holly, I can see Todd doing something like that while you and I go to Daytona. Penny throws out in the flat. That'll be a short game. Completed to Junior Hemingway, and Joe Hayden, who had never played defense before this year, was a high school quarterback, a very nice kid.
Yeah.
And he's going to have a brilliant future here as a corner.
And he's already become their top cover cornerback after 1 year of playing. He came to Florida as a wide receiver at first. He started out playing wide receiver. They moved him to cornerback because they lacked depth, and he quickly became the best one they have out there.
Hart on the delay. Nice move to get extra yardage, and Hart will have a first down at the Michigan 45-yard line. Finally tracked down by Marquis Anderson.
You know, it's interesting because one of the things Lloyd Carr said to me the other day when we were talking to him and talking about Rich Rodriguez coming in the spread, he said, the thing that I love about the spread offense is how you can run the football out of it. And you spread people out to not only create matchups in your passing game, but to open up running lanes for a guy like Mike Hart. And Michigan's done a pretty good job of that, spreading Florida out to both throw and run today.
Florida comes with a blitz. They don't get there again, and Henne to Arrington. Arrington slammed down at the 30 by Hayden. Well, the Gators have not been nearly as effective with their blitz as Michigan has with its blitz.
That's exactly right. Now, Florida's blitz are more zone blitz, and so it's not as many guys coming, and Michigan is not fooled. And Chad Henne knows where his protection is. Again, he's a seasoned vet, 4-year starter. He knows if there's an unblocked guy coming or not, and when he knows he's got protection, he stays right in there and makes the throw. What was that?
Davis was across the line. Torrey jumped and
defense offside, made contact. 5 yards, still first down.
I didn't think Michigan was even out of the huddle yet.
He came across the line, and it was almost like, oh, what was I thinking?
I mean, I can understand trying to get a jump, but that wasn't even close.
A look of puzzlement.
Yeah.
Torrey was anticipating the snap count a little earlier than most try it. But that's how young Florida's been up front. Hart. Maybe a yard. Dustin Doe was in on the tackle again. The Gators lost one defensive tackle after another this year, and a team that was already exceptionally young. And you remember meeting with Urban Meyer at the beginning of the season. He said, I've never been around a team that is this young, but their future is ridiculous.
Yep.
I think his evaluation was perfect. Second and 4. Penny over the middle. And he's got Matthews breaks away. 15, 10 to the 5. What a run by Matthews after Brandon Spikes looked like he had him and then just whiffed.
You know, it's funny because I was watching the Florida sideline. Charlie Strong, Urban Meyer, all of them were trying to signal to their defense to move over out onto the slot. Matthews is in the slot right here. The sideline is saying, hey, move out there closer to him. They don't get out and cover him, and Matthews is going to come underneath, make the catch, and then have lots of room after he spins out of the first tackle. Kind of too much room for Chad Henne to throw the football there. He fumbled the ball.
Ball's loose.
He tried to stick the football over the end zone to score, and the ball got knocked out.
Hart had fumbled 3 times in his entire career. Coming into this game, he has fumbled twice in this one, although he's hoping they're going to rule him down.
Well, if they rule him down, it's not reviewable. If they call it a fumble, it is reviewable.
The runner fumbled the ball into the end zone, recovered by the defense, results in a touchback. First down to the 20-yard line.
Clint McMillan knocked it away. What a turnaround for Hart.
Well, watch, Mike Hart is about a foot away from the goal line, and he tries to reach the ball out to score. As he does, Major Wright knocks the ball out and then falls on it. Hart is 1 yard shy of the goal line. He tries to stretch it out, and Major Wright puts his shoulder right on the football and knocks it out.
Todd, that's another freshman in the secondary with an incredible future for the Gators. And Hart has made 2 monster mistakes in this game.
Both of them inside the 1 yard line. I mean, he had 2 fumbles, and both were down close.
Yeah, think where Michigan could be right now. They're already up 28-21, and Hart just can't believe it. And now we're going to take a look at this on replay.
Well, you know, he's trying to say that he was down, but his knees were nowhere near the ground. He had dove towards the end zone with the ball outstretched, and Major Wright just put his helmet or his shoulder right on the football.
And Hart is just hoping against hope that there will be a replay angle that gives him a shot at not fumbling that football.
Take a look again. He's reaching, stretching to the end zone. There's the collision, ball out before he's down.
Came into this game with 993 consecutive touches without losing a fumble. He has lost 2 in this game. Unbelievable. And they have confirmed that it was a fumble.
And for Michigan now, their 3rd turnover of the football game. 2 lost fumbles by Mike Hart, an interception on the trick play by Chad Henne, and yet they still have a 7-point lead. But those turnovers could come back to haunt them before this day is over.
Now Tebow with Harvin in the backfield. The 2 stars of this Gator offense. They run the option. Harvin can't get outside. They were looking for a block from Hernandez.
A nice play by Sean Crable, number 2, outside linebacker for Michigan. One of those seniors playing his last game.
Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, that fumble was very demoralizing for this Michigan offensive line in particular. They just came to the sideline. Several of the guys threw helmet onto to the bench, slammed the bench. Jake Long barking at people, yelling at people. They are irritated and angry. Mike Hart, seeing this, just went over, kind of high-fived everybody, tried to get the guys to calm down, kind of apologizing, saying, hey, we'll get this back, and just letting them know exactly what happened.
Blitz coming on Tebow again, throws incomplete, intended for Andre Caldwell.
And see, right now, what Ron English is saying is, you know what, ever since about midway through the second quarter, they have not been able to block our pressure, and we've been able to hit this quarterback consistently. Until they burn us deep, and until they get us out of the blitz, we're going to keep coming after them, and that's what a good defensive coordinator does. If they can't pick it up, or if they can't capitalize by getting a big throw down the field, then you keep doing what you're doing.
Ron English was rumored to have already signed a contract to be the defensive coordinator at Louisville. He said that's not true. He has not made a decision. Wanted to focus on this game, as did the rest of the Michigan coaching staff. Tebow, quarterback draw, lowers his shoulder and is belted.
Boy, Jamar Adams has had a nice ball game. Another one of those seniors, starting safety, jumps right in there. Tebow again, he's not going to make you miss. He's going to try to run over you. But he tried to jump over one defender, and while he was airborne, Jamar Adams picked him up and dropped him.
Now remember, he had that non-throwing shoulder injury early in the season. Fortunately, it came down on the non-throwing shoulder. That's the kind of thing that'll separate something. And it's a fake. Hernandez on the throw.
What a call by Urban Meyer.
Boy, that takes some guts, doesn't it?
Down 7. Backed up on your own 23-yard line. They beat you on a special teams play to start the third quarter. And you're going to get them. Hernandez, a backup tight end, a freshman out of Bristol, Connecticut. Here he is. He's going to just release outside, and they're going to see. Chaz Henry, the punter's going to see we got it wide open. It's there. Let's take a shot at it. Makes a nice soft pass for Hernandez, and Florida keeps the football.
What a huge play. Can they take advantage of the gamble that paid off?
Direct snap to Harvin. He's at the quarterback position.
They seal off the right side. Harvin with a little hesitation. Taken down at the 43. It looked like that play might turn into a lot more, but Michigan hustled to get to the outside.
I tell you, I'm impressed by Tim Jamison, number 90 for Michigan. I watched tape of him against Ohio State. He had a huge ball game in their last regular season game. He's a senior out of Riverdale, Illinois. And he runs from inside out extremely well. When the play goes away from him, he doesn't take the play off inside. He runs out there and gets involved.
Gain of 5, 2nd and 5 for Tebow.
He looks like he's lined up offside right now. Jamison does.
Harvin straight up the middle. A flag is down, and Harvin is off to the races. Knocked out of bounds at the 13. Now we'll check the marker, but it certainly looked like an offside call against Michigan.
Michigan was lined up offside. Sean Crable on the outside. Florida went with the play.
Defense, number 2.
And it is on Crable, the 5th-year senior from Massillon, Ohio.
Here's the offsides, and this is Hernandez. He's the guy that caught the pass on the fake punt. He's the guy that leads Harvin on this play. Little inside run. Nice block on the inside linebacker, Chris Graham, by Hernandez. And Harvin, once he gets into the secondary, its speed takes over.
1st and 10 from the 13. Tebow tried to spin out of a tackle, but couldn't. And he was taken down by Will Johnson, the other senior lineman, 3-time academic All-Big Ten. Second down, 11 yards to go. 1:43 and counting, 3rd quarter. Tebow with 5 wide receivers again. Throws for the end zone. Caldwell, touchdown. Looked like he beat Morgan Trent. Well, the middle of that Michigan defense has really been vulnerable.
Well, and Tim Tebow did a phenomenal job of just drifting slightly to his right because pressure was coming from his left. So he bought a little bit more time until Caldwell uncovered against single coverage for the touchdown. That was a beautiful piece of work by Tim Tebow.
And you saw the look of determination on Hart's face on the Michigan bench. His fumble set this up. Instead of a Michigan touchdown, the Gators march the length of the field and score themselves. Helped aside the Pontiac game-changing performance of the year. Vote at ESPN.com. Search Pontiac to determine which school will win the $100,000 General Scholarship Fund contribution courtesy of Pontiac. The Appalachian State field goal block was against these same Michigan Wolverines. The game that shocked the world of college football. Harrison and Minor are deep for Michigan. We now have a tie ball game at 28-28. What do you think Mike Hart is thinking right now?
He's probably disbelief a little bit. 2 fumbles in this ball game. His last game as a Michigan Wolverine.
Minor pinned in the corner again. Behind the wedge. Close to the 30.
I'm going to go back and show you the Florida touchdown. If you blitz, you better get to Tim Tebow. Now, he's going to see Caldwell here late, but he's going to have Lewis Murphy try to block Obiaze, and he knows he's going to have a little trouble with him. So watch this little subtle move by Tim Tebow just over to his right, enough to stay away from the blitzing linebacker until his wide receiver uncovered in the middle of the end zone. That's just a quarterback feeling his way in the pocket, knowing if I slide this way a little bit, I don't have to run or scramble, just enough to buy some time.
It's a good thing, too, because Murphy tried to cut him, and he just whipped.
Yeah. Well, a wide receiver's not going to block too many linebackers.
Manningham. Boy, Florida did a great job. Then he reverses.
He's got a lot of blockers.
There's nobody out there but Michigan blockers. Manningham. What a play. Holy cow, what a run.
That was. I mean, he was trying to stretch that to the left sideline, and it looked like he finally ran out of room. It's a little bubble screen. They've had success with it tonight. And then he reverses all the way back to the right sideline. Henny out there trying to block for him. Mike Hart getting the block.
He ran 100 yards to gain 23. Those are the kind of difference-making plays that win ball games. Hart is the tailback. Well, you know he wants it the worst way, and Hart dragged down at the 44. Let's go to John Saunders in Pasadena. John.
Mike, we just want to remind everybody, but the Built Ford Tough pregame show is scheduled to start at 4:30 Eastern time. But you guys right now are still in the third quarter as we get you ready for the Rose Bowl presented by Citi. There's Pete Carroll, who's been in these a number of times. As he said, the pregame's supposed to start at 4:30, but because of the length of your game, we're going to start it over on ESPN2. Not that I'm suggesting anybody tune away from your game. Mike, back to you.
We appreciate that, John. The thing is, if you tuned in late to this one, you've still got at least a whole quarter to go. And Manningham couldn't hold that one from Henny.
Yeah, and that was a tough drop for Mario. He's had a big-time game today. 4 drops in his last game of the regular season against Ohio State. That would have given them a 3rd and 1 at the very least, maybe another first down. As it turns out, 3rd and 6 now for Chad Henne.
Sometimes you come across the middle and you peak a little early, and there's somebody there ready to lay it to you.
And the Gators are a good team to have alligator arms against.
3rd and 6. Blitz coming. Henne throws underneath. This one's complete. That is right at the sticks to Greg Matthews. I mean, right on top of that yellow line. A.J. Jones drilled him.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chad Henne has been outstanding on 3rd down today. They were 7 of 9 converting 3rd downs in the first half. And they're back at it again in the second half. He's done a nice job of finding the right matchup in the open man. He's got Matthews coming underneath, and that's a throw where you say, okay, I'm going to throw it short of the first down, and I'm going to expect my wide receiver to get upfield and get enough yards after the catch for the first.
Now, when you look at that replay where the yellow line was in there, you can see they were at least a length of a football short of a first down,
like it.
And they got a great mark.
Look at Chad Henne on third down, 7 of 8, 6 of them for first downs, 1 of them a touchdown. I mean, that's a killer for a defense and for a defensive coordinator, because you can't get them off the field and get the ball back to your offense.
This presentation of the Capital One Bowl will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching the Capital One Bowl.
Overcome the big man gonna try. Overcome the big man, everybody step aside. Move it on over, oh, let the big man by.
Back to the Capital One Bowl in Orlando, tied at 28 between Michigan and Florida. Glad you could join us for what so far has been a great game. First down, Wolverines at the Gator 37. Hart breaks the tackle. Still on his feet, powers his way inside the 31. Now here's the Pacific Life game summary so far. And we've got a chance for 1,000 total yards between these two teams. They are just racking it up. Michigan with 414 yards so far. Florida with 356. Defense is just taking a beating. 3 Michigan turnovers. 2 Hart fumbles, both at the goal line. Hart again, burst through this time. Down to the 15.
See, what Michigan has done is, because they've thrown the ball well, they're putting Florida back with 2 safeties. Instead of allowing Florida to sneak another defender in to stop the run, they've got them in pass defenses, and then they're slipping the run in. The passing game has set up the running game for Michigan through this game. Early on in the game, there weren't a lot of running lanes. Now, because they've thrown the ball so well, it's opened up more lanes for Mike Hart.
Mike Hart is only the 4th Big Ten back ever to go over 5,000 yards.
I'll tell you, there's a couple things that are impressive to me about Michigan in this ballgame. Number one, we talked about the coaching thing in flux with Lloyd Carr, Rich Rodriguez coming in, players not sure what's going on. All these assistants, except for Fred Jackson, the running back coach, going to be looking for new jobs, and yet they stayed focused for this game. And then the other thing, this team, the conditioning levels, particularly with the offensive line, they're in good shape here for the 4th quarter of this football game, coming from a much colder climate than Florida, who practices in this all the time.
Manningham on the inside handoff. Pushed back. Here he goes again, back the other way. Got a block from Henne.
There's a flag down, though.
Flag on the field.
Not going to do it twice, but there's a flag back in the middle that I think is going to move Michigan back.
Henne set up and threw a heck of a block on Marquis Anderson. And the foul may be on Henne for a low block.
No, I think it was back inside towards the middle. Now the question, will Urban Meyer want to take the penalty and make it 2nd and 25?
Personal foul, clipping, number 65. The penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
That's Justin Borum, the left guard. Now here's Henne. Watch this.
Well, Manningham sets him up. He waits for Henne to get in position. That's a legal block.
Yeah, it's a good one, too.
He takes out Marquis Anderson. But it's 2nd and 25 now for Michigan.
Holly, what do you have?
Guys, well, that run by Manningham was so explosive and exciting. Even Brandon Spikes, the linebacker for Florida, who's been yapping all day, he made his way clear to the sideline and said, gosh dang, boy, you're good. Gosh dang.
Did he really say gosh dang, Holly? Penny as the middle has been open. This one complete to Matthews again. Taken down at the 20. They need to reach the 15 for first down.
And again, that's a smart decision by a veteran quarterback. Second and long. Don't try to get it all back in one play. Throw underneath. Expect zone defense. Take the underneath throw and come back and have a little bit more manageable of a third down play.
Excuse me, I said the 15. They need to reach the 5. 15 being the original line of scrimmage. And there's Derek Harvey, the guy who's been in there down after down after down.
Manningham has been the go-to guy today. Michigan calling timeout.
That's their first. 12:24 to go in a tie game. Tied at 28 with 12:24 to go in the ball game. Michigan facing a big third down. Penny needs 15. Three-man rush. Throws for the end zone. Beautifully covered. Manningham was sandwiched.
And Charlie Strong and Greg Madison decided a different tactic on that third down play. They've tried to bring some zone blitzes. Not able to get to Henny. That time they rushed 3 and dropped 8. Nobody for Henny to throw the football to.
K.C. Lopata, who has missed only once all year, will come in to try from 37. This would give Michigan the lead. Knocks it through, and the Wolverines have the lead back, 31-28. Coming up, a comprehensive look back at the season-long phenomenon known as Todd's Taste of the Town.
The Capital One Bowl on ABC, brought to you by the new Capital One Card Lab at CapitalOne.com. What's in your wallet? Chrysler. The way our vehicles come together is what sets us apart. Chrysler, engineered beautifully. Aflac. Ask about it at work. And Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Goodyear. Get there with triple tread technology. Michigan to kick off from the 30. Todd, they've been going with cruise kicks.
Yeah.
What do you look for here?
No, I think they need to kick this one deep because I don't think they want to give Florida good field position to start this next offensive drive. And I don't think they'll fool them again with a short kick.
Ball fell off the tee, where she had the dangerous Brandon James averaging over 28 yards a return. And they're anticipating something short. James is up just behind Keyston Moore near the 20.
But look at Urban Meyer now. Urban Meyer's backing him up. I think Urban is thinking the same thing. They're going to kick this one. So let's set up our normal return and see where we can get started from.
And they do kick it away.
Kick it to Keyston Moore instead.
Moore from the 17. Taken down at the 32. Time now for a look back at Todd's Taste of the Town.
Oh, boy, that looks good, doesn't it?
They make over 1 million of these sticky buns a year.
Brian used to be a regular customer here.
Dishes, something I have no chance of getting back. Made from scratch hush puppies. And if you're really nice and ask, I've got black and gator, Louisiana alligator, but catfish Acadiana.
We'll show you more in just a second. Harvin can't get outside. Crable did a great job coming across the line of scrimmage and making sure.
Don Crable was a guy who had his best year this year as a senior, was voted a team captain, took on a new responsibility. 84 tackles. He was #1 in the Big Ten with tackles behind the line of scrimmage, just like that. 26.5 during the regular season.
It's a loss of 7.
Boy,
so it's 2nd and 17. They just kill you, don't they?
They sure do.
Tebow on the option to Harvin. Room to run. Out to the 36. Here's more Taste of the Town.
This is a beautiful bacon cheddar cheeseburger with some grilled onion. Now, all their pastas are homemade fresh every day. And for you, Mike Patrick, homemade brown gravy. This is what's known as five-way chili. It's got noodles, chili, beans, onion. I've got some sausage and some shredded pork with some hot sauce on it. You can get them a lot of different ways. Plain, with sauce, with cheese, or the way I like them with everything on them, including hot peppers.
You did a great job on this. Here's the unfortunate part. You ate all that food. I gained 10 pounds. How's that possible?
I tried to get you on the treadmill with me.
Yes, you did.
I asked you many times if you wanted to join me.
Yep. Tebow trying to keep the drive alive. He's in trouble and throws it away.
Well, the defensive front of Michigan has really settled in and taken control of the passing game. I mean, I know Florida scored to tie it up on their last possession, but the Michigan front four, again, we talked about the conditioning of the offensive line. The defensive line showing good conditioning to continue to rush Tim Tebow.
Florida has already faked a punt once, and it worked. Would they dare try it again? You wouldn't think so. They'll kick it away. Matthews, the deep man, takes it to the 25-yard line.
You know, I think this whole Taste of Town, we had a blast doing it. It was a lot of fun all year. But the one thing I will say, too, I think it kind of reached its pinnacle this week. When I was at Michigan's practice and I was on the sideline, and one of their staff guys, wasn't one of the coaches, but someone on their staff looked at me and he took a devil take and said, hey, aren't you that food guy? That's what I've become. I'm the food guy now. Not a football analyst. I'm the food guy. So
I don't think I have ever seen a response to something non-football this great. Coaches, people on airplanes, people on shopping centers, you know, hey, where's Todd eating this week?
Well, we struck a chord. College football fans love their football, and they love to eat, and they love to find the places at those college towns.
Go to Holly. Holly, what do you think about Taste of the Town?
Well, guys, it got so bad that we were at the luncheon for the bowl game yesterday. 1,500 people, a packed ballroom, and they introduced Todd and I to go up and do some game analysis. Todd walks onto the stage, and a voice from the back of the ballroom, where'd you eat?
Yeah, it's quite a deal.
5-yard face mask call against Florida.
Yeah, could have gone either way. I mean, Mike Hart had a hold of Spike's face mask, and Spike's got a hold of Mike Hart. And inadvertent.
Of course, Hart has that shield in there. He doesn't have to worry about somebody sticking his finger in his eye through there either. Don't know what the delay is here as they walk off the penalty up to the 31.
The feeling that you have right now, Michigan is in very good position. Okay, their defense is playing well. Their offense is playing well. They can't get conservative here, and they cannot afford another mistake, another turnover. I mean, they've got control of the game, but it's not a very serious or strong control of the game. They're on the scoreboard ahead. They cannot afford another big mistake like a turnover and survive this game.
Penny, pump fake, flushed, throws it away. His receiver Manningham fell down. He threw into that area. The tradition continues here with a Rose Bowl game as the Illinois Fighting Illini make their first trip to the Rose Bowl since 1984 to take on the Trojans of Southern California. The Rose Bowl game coming up later right here on ABC.
Of course, Ron Zook, the coach of Illinois. What a tremendous job he has done. And a lot of these players that Florida's playing with right now were recruited by Ron Zook when he was the head coach. 2-10 last year in the Rose Bowl this year for Illinois.
Deserved all the accolades he received for a brilliant job this year. Hart. Taking down about a yard shy of a first down. Bring up a very interesting third.
You know, this Michigan offense, I guess, getting close to about 450 yards of total offense. This is the kind of explosiveness they expected the Michigan offense to have all year. But early injuries to Chad Henne, then injuries to Mike Hart, Mario Manningham, they just never reached their peak. In the last game against Ohio State, they only had 91 yards of total offense. Boy, they have done their job tonight as a healthy unit.
Back to the I formation, and Hart will follow his fullback.
I think he got that on Hart and second effort.
Yeah.
Because he ran behind Jake Long. It didn't look like he was going to get the first down, but I don't think he was going to be denied on that play.
He's looking at the mark. It is a first down. They're not even going to bother to measure. Spikes and McMillan made the tackle, but Hart just pushed straight ahead. And he joins Ron Dane, Archie Griffin, and the Anthony Thompson as one of only 4 Big Ten backs ever to go over 5,000 yards. Henny all day. Throws underneath. Matthews taken out of bounds.
See, I like that. Mike DeBoard, I think the offensive coordinator, has done a beautiful job of staying with his pedal on the metal with this offense. That was an empty set on first down, a passing formation, 8 minutes and 50 seconds left in the ball game. You've got a 3-point lead, but now is not the time to pull everything in and be conservative. Keep the pressure on Florida. Keep moving the football.
Chad Henne is approaching his career passing high. He's at 312 right now. Against Ohio State 2004, he threw for 328. Hart. You know, one thing that they're doing now, the bowl games count in the overall statistics, is now we've got some extra action over near the sideline.
I think that's Jake Long blocking on somebody.
Dustin Doe, the linebacker. No flag. A rather large mismatch there, isn't it?
Well, Dustin Doe, unfortunately, gets tied up with Jake Long. And Jake Long, whether he heard the whistle or not, acted like he didn't. And ends up putting Dustin Doe on his back. And then just kind of sitting there.
It is a first down. And the official ran right by it toward the spot of the ball. Here's the screen. Tipped up in the air. Intercepted by the Gators.
There's a mistake.
Cunningham tipped it, and Michael Pouncey intercepted the pass. And the screen was set up really well.
It was set up. Jermaine Cunningham had his eyes locked on Chad Henne and timed his jump perfectly. Watch, he disengages from Jake Long, gets his hands on the football, alters the course of the pass, and Pouncey comes up with the interception.
In high school, that young man played defensive line as a senior. That was it. He was an offensive lineman. They moved him to defense, and the defensive coaches say they will lobby to keep him there because he's a real find. The 4th Michigan turnover, and the Gators set up shop at the Wolverine 34. Tebow. 9, maybe 9.5 yards. They're well within field goal range.
Now, Mike, we've been here all week because we were here a few days ago for the Champs Sports Bowl, in which the other Big Ten team from Michigan, Michigan State, played against Boston College. And they played well enough to win.
They did.
And they were in control of that game for a good portion of the game. But it was turnovers that did Michigan State in as well. 5 turnovers in that ball game allowed Matt Ryan and Boston College to come away with the close win. 4 turnovers now for the Michigan Wolverines.
Clock running, approaching 7.5 minutes. Second and short. Tebow fumbles the ball, throws. Harvin makes the catch, and he's going to get a first down. What great presence of mind by Tebow. Not to panic. Pick up the ball, throw it to Harvin, who made a nice catch. And then scrambled to get the first down.
A wide receiver screen. You're right. No panic. Just pick it up. Get rid of it. Harvin's coming to the quarterback, so it was a short throw. And a first down for the Gators.
Well, they turned a potential disaster into a first down. Now Harvin's in the backfield. Tebow straight ahead. Now, Todd, when they're set up there and they start to call a signal and then they stop, Explain to people what they're doing there when they look to the sideline.
Well, they're getting a look while they line up, and then they look to the sidelines, and Dan Mullen, who is up in the press box, sees a better play to check to, so he calls it down in the headset to Billy Gonzalez on the sidelines, and they signal in a new play to Tim Tebow to check to at the line of scrimmage. So it comes from upstairs, seeing the defense, and then calling a better play.
2nd and 7. Tebow underneath. Hernandez to the 10. It will be a first down for the Gators.
Hernandez is a nice-looking player. 6'2", 256 freshman from Bristol, Connecticut, in the slot, working on the linebacker. Chris Graham does a nice job of getting some separation and then getting inside there for the catch.
He has a brother, DJ, who plays at UConn. Harvin in the slot. He has been so effective down here, going to the middle of the field. Michigan hasn't covered him down here yet. Harvin on the reverse. 5, dives for the goal line touchdown. Fun to watch, isn't he?
He sure is. They've run reverses a lot this whole season. The first time we've seen one today. They fake the option one way to Caldwell, come back the reverse the other way to Harvin, and the Gators go back on top.
13 carries for a career high, 165 yards for Percy Harvin. Another in the long line of great players to come out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Welcome back to the Capital One Bowl. And boy, what a good ball game. Florida has taken the lead 35-31. There's the Heisman, and the winner is right there, Tim Tebow.
Well, Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin, look at that, 387 of the 395 total yards, those two guys. And bad news for the rest of the SEC, they're both scheduled to be back next year. Now, Percy Harvin, don't know that for sure, but boy, oh boy.
Boy, it'd be tough to leave, wouldn't it, with that much talent coming back? You'd think you'd want to be part of that, but it's also an individual decision. Minor. Let's go to Matt Weiner. Matt.
All right, Mike, this Sports Center Minute is powered by Vizio. Michael Simpson took off on a 96-yard touchdown run for Virginia. The Cavaliers lead Texas Tech pending a review. 28-20 at the moment. Tech has just scored that in the Gator Bowl. Missouri's Tony Temple set Cotton Bowl records with 281 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Missouri ran all over Arkansas 38-7. And coming up next, the first ever Rose Bowl meeting for USC and Illinois. You can see the pregame right now on ESPN2. Guys?
All right, Matt, thank you so much. The lead here has gone to the Gators, and Chad Henne back to work. Bobbled by Matthews, got it back out to the 38.
We'll go back and show you on the touchdown why Florida's so tough. Now, here's Harvin right here, okay? But that's Caldwell. You got to fake the option. They fake the option. It causes the linebackers to flow with the option, and they give the ball back to Harvin on the reverse. You've got to respect all the weapons. Caldwell was going one way. The linebackers went with him and Tebow. Harvin came back the other way and got the touchdown.
2nd and 4. Michigan at this point is going to need a touchdown. Henne. Arrington.
And he caught it right off of Marquis Anderson's back. Marquis Anderson never saw the ball, and I think the ball hit him on the back, and Arrington took it right off of his back for the completion.
He had perfect coverage.
Yeah. He was in great shape, but he never saw the football. Watch this. I think it came right off of Anderson, and Arrington, no, just one-handed. What a grab. We saw him with the wraparound catch in the first quarter. This one is even better. One hand snags it. Oh, my goodness, what a catch.
How spectacular is that? Wow. 6'3", 195, a senior out of Cedar Rapids. And Michigan already to the Gator 24. Hart to the 18. We are putting up some awesome offensive numbers. Henne has thrown for 355, a career high, 24 out of 38.
Chad Henne from Wyomissing, Pennsylvania. Wilson High School, the same high school that Kerry Collins went to, that played at Penn State, and now with the Tennessee Titans.
Michigan has already racked up 512 yards in offense. Florida with 395. Henne looks for the end zone, throws, Arrington, touchdown. Whatever you can do, I can do better. Been the theme all afternoon.
Chad Henne did a wonderful job of looking off the coverage. There was no safety help. It was straight man all the way across. And he found Arrington for the touchdown.
Arrington having a monster game, 9 for 153 for 2 touchdowns. Of course, everybody on offense is having a monster game.
Well, we talked about the 3-on-3 matchup. Whose big three would have the bigger game? Michigan on top right now because of Chad Henne's career day.
Thank you, Lloyd, indeed, for a terrific career and doing it with class. Trying to go out a winner this afternoon. He's up 38-35 in a wild one. And let's thank Adrian Arrington while we're at it for Michigan. What a day. Career highs, 9 for 153. He's been amazing.
Yeah. And he wasn't even one of the big three. No. You know, Mario Manningham has had a big game as well, but Arrington, the other receiver, huge day.
This kick will go out of the end zone. They finally kicked it James, but they kick it over him.
Let's go back to the touchdown now. Here's Arrington right here. What I want you to watch is as he comes off the ball, they've done this all night on the post route. As we freeze it right here, he's going to take a little step out and then back to the post. And that little step out is going to turn the defender outside. And as soon as he does that, the receiver has him. And Henne has read that all day today. They've hit 3 post patterns for big plays for touchdowns, and all of them has been against single coverage with that little move outside and then back to the inside and a perfect throw to follow.
Now it's up to the only person who has ever won the Heisman Trophy as a sophomore, Tim Tebow. Can he lead this offense down for a tying or winning score? Harvin on the bubble screen. That's a couple. Oh, and it's about time Michigan decided Harvin's not going to have a lot of running room after he catches the ball.
The thing that's so scary about him is just every play that he catches it, if he gets in space, he has the potential of going the distance with it. He has that kind of speed. He has that kind of ability to make you miss in the open field. And I can't stress enough how creative they are in finding different ways to get him the football and move him around so you can't zero in on him.
Defensive coordinator Ron English said, we know we've been an average to good tackling team in space. Today, we have to be very, very good. Let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, one thing to consider here with just 3 minutes left in this game, Percy Harvin just told a teammate on the sideline, Keyston Moore, he is very tired. He's going to have to try to find a second win here to finish this ball game.
Well, when we were at practice, Holly, the other day, I think it was whatever day it was. I lose track of days we've been down here, but it was like a Wednesday practice. He was cramping up at the end of practice, and he didn't go in the 2-minute drill because he had cramps at the end of practice and had them the day before as well. So that could be an issue for him as this game wears on, too.
3rd and 6 for Tebow and the Gator offense. Blitz coming. Tebow in trouble, throws it away, had a receiver out there. The pressure was coming from Brandon Graham, who leads them with 8.5 sacks this year. He's been after Tebow all day.
The difference in this game for Michigan, when they've had success defensively, is they've decided we can play man-to-man. As good as Percy Harvin is, as good as Bubba Caldwell is, we're going to take our chances playing man and go for pressure.
No punt team. 2:47 to go. Florida with all of its timeouts left. It's a huge gamble.
Yeah, it is.
I think Urban Meyer fears he might not be able to get the ball back. Tebow throws underneath, tipped it incomplete. Exceptional defense by Stevie Brown. He was right there to get a hand on it.
Well, it started with pressure again. Sean Crable gets in and gets pressure. Tebow, under duress, makes a beautiful throw to Cornelius Ingram anyway. But Stevie Brown did not give up on the play. It looked like Ingram was going to come away with the catch, and Stevie Brown just kept fighting the ball out for the incompletion.
Now, if you're Florida, the mission is to keep Michigan out of the end zone, use your timeouts to conserve the clock, and maybe give up a field goal. That's the best case scenario right there. The Gators have all three left, and if you're Michigan, you've got to make them use them. Hart cuts it back to stay in bounds.
Well, Mike Hart, he's already fumbled twice. Hang on to the football and stay in bounds. Get what you can get down and protect the ball.
2:36 left. Back after this. The Rose Bowl game will follow our broadcast, but it wouldn't go away quite yet. It's 38-35. Michigan with the ball. Florida with 2 timeouts left. Michigan gets a first down. It's going to be over. Now the Gators will use their second timeout. Let's take a look at our ESPNU All-State Standings review. And we have followed this one all year long, and it has been about a topsy-turvy poll as you could possibly imagine. Ohio State and LSU back playing for the national championship game after both were written off.
Yeah. Well, and they both lost late. That's the interesting thing. Ohio State, I really think they match up better against LSU than they did last year against Florida, because I think LSU is more of a power team, more of a traditional team, not so much of a spread. They are fast, they do have speed, but so does Ohio State. And I think Ohio State's defense matches up very well against LSU. I think Todd Beckman, the young quarterback at Ohio State, played very well through the most part of the season. Has to have a big game in order for them to have a chance to knock off LSU. But I like Ohio State's chances in that ball game. LSU, I think, was the best team that I saw in person this season, although they struggled a little bit down the stretch when Glenn Dorsey was banged up on the inside.
Third down, Henne under center. Draw play. Nice conservative call, trying not to make a mistake, and Brandon Miner got the carry. This is such a big game emotionally for Michigan's senior class. They've never beaten Ohio State. They have not won a bowl game. This is the way they want to go out. You can understand why these guys have played hard today.
Absolutely, and I'm very impressed with the seniors. I mean, Jake Long and Sean Crable and Chad Henne, Mike Hart. I mean, they have really taken ownership of this team and said, you know what, we are going to send Coach Carr out the right way, and we're going to finish our careers the right way. Chad Henne, all he's had is a career night. He has been on target since the very beginning of this game. 6 for 6 in the first possession of the game, and he has kept the pressure on this Florida defense with pinpoint passing, outstanding game management, and toughness. He did have a couple turnovers, but he never lost his confidence, and he never stopped leading this football team. And boy, really great to see Chad Henne healthy and having the kind of game that he had in this ballgame.
And Arrington just made 2 ridiculous catches in this game. Here comes Casey Lopata, who may be the biggest kicker in college football. Trying to keep it inside the left upright, and he does. He's 2 for 2. The lead has gone to 6, but the Gators have a lot of time left. 2:21 to get that winning touchdown. Here's Matt Weiner.
All right, Mike, when those 2 minutes, 21 seconds elapse, we'll send you to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl, the best turnaround story in college football this year. The Fighting Illini of Illinois against number 7 USC, arguably the best two-loss team not in the BCS championship game. You'll see Illinois and the Trojans coming up right after the Capital One Bowl completes.
Okay, Matt, thanks very much.
It's going to be a fun game to watch. You know, one more thing about Chad Henne. I did the championship game last year on radio for ESPN, and Troy Smith of Ohio State had won the Heisman Trophy, and Chris Leak had a better game, had a big game for Florida in that championship game. And, you know, not that Tim Tebow has not had a good game, and he still might take his team to victory here with 2:21 left. But, you know, when you're a quarterback and a competitor, and you know the guy on the other side of the ball has won the Heisman Trophy and is the guy that got all the accolades at that luncheon. I didn't see a lot of people lining up to get Chad Henne's autograph. You know, that fuels the fire a little bit, and Chad Henne has played an outstanding football game today.
If you're Michigan, do you try to kick it away again?
No, yeah, kick it deep again. If you can, I would anticipate, you know, try to kick it to Keyston Moore. Don't give them any advantage with field position here. There it is. Kick it deep. Bad decision.
Here he comes. Brandon James trying to make something happen. Actually got it across the 20 to the 23, taken down by Anton Campbell. Here's the Pacific Life game summary. You like big numbers? We got big numbers for you. 529 yards, and that's with 4 turnovers. Florida with 399, and they have to go, let's see, 77 yards here. That would take them up to 476 if they get the touchdown.
Here's Harvin right here in the slot to the left.
Tebow against the 4-man rush, throws incomplete. That was a good throw on his part. If he throws that ball on target, Morgan Trent's got a better chance to catch it than his receiver.
Even though they've given up 35 points to this Florida offense, I think Michigan's decision to pressure and play more man-to-man than zone has been a big factor for them to be in the lead right now. They have really put Tim Tebow in duress on a number of occasions tonight.
Now they're showing a 3-man front, now a 4-man front. They come with a blitz. They pick it up. Tebow hit just as he threw, and Harvin fell down trying to run his pattern.
They started out by showing 3, then they showed a 4th late, and they ended up bringing 5. So they brought an extra linebacker, and they got a hit on Tebow as well. Here comes the linebacker late, and Sean Crable is the guy that gets the quarterback to the ground. You know, if you get to the quarterback and you blitz, you don't have to cover very long.
Tebow, after that hot start, has hit only 10 of his last 22 for 74 yards. What does Michigan do now? They come with pressure again. Tebow floats it up for Caldwell, and it's underthrown and intercepted, or is he out of bounds? Out of bounds. Morgan Trent. See, he's made 2 big plays on this series.
See, this is not really Tim Tebow's as we look at the Trent interception. Right foot comes down, but a little bit on the line, toes on the line. So Florida should get one more play here, or one more attempt on 4th down, but you know, just dropping back and throwing every down. I mean, that's not where Tim Tebow is. I mean, Tim Tebow is at his best when he's a run or throw threat. Michigan really dialing up the pressure on him, expecting him to throw every down in this situation.
Game's on the line right here, 4th and 10. Pressure coming. Tebow trying to stay alive. Throws it down the middle, tipped it incomplete. Tebow couldn't get anything on it, and Brandon Harrison, number 27, was there to knock it away.
Well, he started to scramble, and he thought about running, and then he didn't think he was going to be able to get enough yardage for the first down, so he backed up to try to make a throw, but had to throw it while he was moving backwards.
You could almost see him thinking during that play, you know, I want to run, oops, I'm not going to make it, back up and throw, and Lloyd Carr.
He's going to get wet.
Yes, he is. And he's not going to mind it a bit.
I don't think so.
Gators with no timeouts. They're not going to be able to stop the clock. And Lloyd Carr will go out as a victory. 28 years as a Michigan football coach. The last 13 as the head man.
Well, he lost his last 4 bowl games coming into today. What a sweet victory this is. And now, we talked about it before. Talk about the Big Ten matching up with the SEC. A huge win for the Big Ten, and for Michigan, now their record 23-5-1 all time, 7-3 in bowl games against the SEC. Pretty good.
Boy, they're pumped up, and they deserved it.
They were focused, they were determined, they were not distracted by the coaching situation. And now tomorrow, Rich Rodriguez will take over this team. All these assistant coaches, except Fred Jackson, will be on the phone trying to line up other jobs. But they came together as a Michigan family and did what they had to do to put their best effort on the field today.
Lloyd Carr has been offered an associate AD spot if he chooses to take it at Michigan. Chad Henne, our Radio Shack player of the game, with a career high 373 yards. Got a lot of support from some outstanding wide receivers.
You know, before the game, Florida was dancing on the logo in the middle of the field. And I thought that riled up the Michigan team. Well, now the Michigan team is ready to do some dancing on their sideline. It's one of those, he who laughs last, laughs the loudest for the Michigan Wolverines.
And Lloyd Carr gets the free ride. Tim Tebow, only a sophomore. He'll be back to fight another day. You'll love to see a guy ride off in the sunset, especially someone as admired as Lloyd Carr, to be able to leave with a victory in the last game of his career. Let's go to Holly.
Coach Carr, what is it like for you to see your team play with such focus and intensity in your last game?
Well, you know, it helped that we were healthy. We at the end of the season, we had a chance to do some great things, and injuries really hurt that team. That's not an excuse, it's the truth. But what they did in this game, in this environment, well, I love them to death, you know.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks.
End of an era at Michigan. Congratulations to Lloyd Carr. It's great, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, he's one of the class guys that college football has ever known, and all of college football will miss Lloyd Carr now that he's not coaching at Michigan.
Michigan a winner by 6 over Florida. For Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our entire crew, this is Mike Patrick. Have a happy New Year, everyone. Stay tuned for the Rose Bowl game after this from your ABC stations.